Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on in our 11th season. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week number 15 and what it has to hold, because there's a lot of things that are on the line in today's games. We're talking playoff spots. We're talking hanging on by the hairs of their chinny chin if they're going to make the playoffs, as we got 3 more weeks of NFL before we hit the actual playoffs. Right now, 5 teams have clinched playoff spots, as well as maybe a division title and everything else. One being the Buffalo Bills, as they went ahead and clinched the NFC East title. It's something that they have not done, folks, since 1995. 25 years ago. Pretty sad, but nice to be able to be there. Made the playoffs a couple of years before they got to where they are, but that is what we're at as far as the NFC East is concerned, because of the Patriots. That being said, that's the name of the show here today. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Oh, yeah. The guy that, I want to make fun of my man here. We've been doing the show for 11 years, goes away. Then all of a sudden the Cleveland Browns might be a good football team. I don't know, but hey, if that's what it takes to get Jim Obie our backup on you and ready on the show, great to have him. How's it going? Good to see you, Obie. Good morning.
It's good to see you. Can you hear me?
I got you. You're all good.
Okay. I don't want to be too loud because everybody else is sleeping. So.
Well, wake their asses up. This is Sunday morning, and of course you got that ugly hat on. Maybe I'll go get my ugly hat a little bit later, but it'll stop that shine off the top of there. But I don't have any.
Check this out.
Oh, he finally did it. He went. I've been telling him for years.
It's not all gone.
It's not all gone. Just
still a little bit left.
Hanging around. So good to see you, though. Hey, we had some games. I didn't get your picks, but you're not stupid. I'll give you that credit. You're not stupid. Buffalo and the Buffalo Bills played Denver last night, and the Chargers in Green Bay played. I already put you down for Buffalo and Green Bay. I didn't get your picks, but you're not stupid. I mean, as far as those games were concerned, that wasn't very hard when you think about what is going on. You love Carolina, you love the story, but you don't pick them against Green Bay. Same thing with Buffalo and Denver. Denver's a good football team, and it's hard to win in Denver, but they're just the class of the AFC East, and they go ahead and had a clinching situation as well. That was pretty good for them. But I did get your picks for Thursday night games, myself as well as you. And the boss, DC, Dennis Clark, we're all on the Chargers. The Raiders were Cuervo and Bryce. So we have one up on them. As last week you went 10-6. My looks at the picks. I went 10-6, which made me really angry. 11 because I'm chasing. Because right now, let's see, Cuervo went 11-5, and the boss DC Dennis Clark went 10-6 as well. But Bryce ripped it up. He went 12-4 this past week, which put him in a tie with the boss at 130-76. Cuervo and I, as far as the whole season are concerned, are Cuervo's 127. I'm 127-79. Cuervo has got one game up on me, 128-78. So we're all right there. I gained that one game back from Cuervo. But anyway, I've been winning this thing for years and years, so it's nice to see that we got other people right there in the tops of the standing and getting there. Cuervo won a couple of years back and kind of ticked me off, but take away from that, let me add a little light to the subject because I can't even see me. There we go. Hey, a little light on the subject. All right, so that being said, it's week number 15. Did you get the opportunity to watch any games yesterday at all, or was it any great big surprise, or did I think incorrectly? Did you have a different team in those games?
Okay, I want to let you and Dennis and Bryce and Cuervo and everybody else to know, and America, whoever's listening out there, right here, dude. You can't see it, but I'm going to say it right here in blue. Right there, it is blue. Those are my picks that I sent you yesterday, buddy.
I probably just went over them. I probably, if I look at them, because that's in our little chat thing. Yeah. So I just went over them.
So that's proof, America. There you go.
Yeah. So even so, I mean, Tarvin has missed it, and Tarvin on a week where he could have cleaned up by missing, because I'll trust him. He missed 7 in that week that he put up, so I kind of trusted him. He kind of went off, but it is what it is. It is. That being said, again, anything from last week's games that you saw, or last week's, or even these final 2-3 games that happened here to start off week number 15?
Well, I have to say that my Browns, I was upset because they lost to the rival Ravens. And so, yeah, I was a bit upset about that. But, hey, I think we played a good game. And I'm telling you what, that Cleveland run game is just
it is
very, very good.
Number 1 in the NFL, isn't it? Right now?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah, so
it
just goes to show, if you have a running game in the NFL, and if you can back it up with just good quarterback play, you got a good offense going. And because I'm going to just be honest, everybody knows I'm not a Baker Mayfield, but I'll give him the fact that he can throw the ball and he can deliver some good balls every once in a while. So if I'm grading Baker Mayfield, I'm giving him a B-. And if you have a B- along with a good running game, forget about it. You're going to be in the standings, and that's where it is. So let's do that. Let's take a look at the standings here in week number 15. And you can obviously look at the AFC and where the Browns are in the North. I mean, geez, 9 games. I mean, listen, you're a Cleveland Brown fan. You don't expect 9 games. You expect 9 games in 3 years, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so
in the past, yeah.
With the way that works, and them looking at them where they're at in the wild card, okay? They're in the 5th spot. But here's the thing: they have to keep winning. Obie, this right here is the will make up this team, okay, the next 3 weeks, because when you got guys that are right there, right, the 5th spot, very easy can slide out of it, because you have Indianapolis, Miami, who's battling for it, Baltimore, who still has a say in what's going on. I think those are the only 3 teams. As we saw the loss for the Raiders, I think they put themselves out of it as far as that's concerned. So I think it's right there. They could slip out of that spot if they don't continue winning. And that's the big thing as far as where you are. And what does week number 15, 16, and 17, my favorite weeks, it's all about positioning and whether or not they get in. And right now, Cleveland is in that area. So
it's playoff football.
Yes.
Right now, it's playoff football.
It's December, baby. It's December. That is the NFL right there.
And you showed the standings, and then you showed the wild card and the playoff positions and everything. And so from 5 through, I think you said 5 through 9.
Yep.
No, 5 through 8. Mm-hmm. I picked this week for all those teams to win.
Yes. Yeah.
You gotta win. You gotta win, baby.
Just gotta win, baby.
Yes.
Unlike the Raiders, they can't even take their own advice. Just win, baby, and they couldn't do it, which is not a great big surprise. And it's not because they're not a good football team. Okay, it's because of a couple of things. Number one, They lose Derek Carr in the middle of that game. Say whatever you want about Derek Carr, whether he's good, bad, or indifferent. That's not good. It affects the whole team. Now, Marcus Mariota did a good job in there, got to the tie, and got him to the overtime, but they lost the game. Hey, so be it. But that's Mark. Listen, Marcus Mariota can have a good game. No one ever questioned whether or not Marcus Mariota was a good football player. It was a question on whether he could be consistent. And with him coming in every once in a while and being fresh and ready to go, that's a good Marcus Mariota. So what they'll do in the last 2 weeks in reality, as far as the Raiders are concerned, will depend upon Marcus Mariota and or if they get Derek Carr back and or if they are eligible to get Derek Carr, will they put them in the lineup seeing how maybe where Marcus Mariota is. Now, the whole rule is you put back in your starting quarterback, but we've seen a couple instances where that didn't happen. One happened to Alex Smith. He lost his job. I'll think of the other one. There were two big ones when you think about you lose your quarterback, they get their job back, and they didn't get it. But I wonder if the Raiders will be the team that will be in that position. What do you think, Obie, when you look at the Raiders and where they are? Okay, next week it's Marcus Mariota. That's no question. The week after that, it's questionable whether or not you're going to get Derek Carr back. What do you do? If Marcus Mariota has a good game, and not only a good game, but a big game, do you go ahead and bring back Carr when he is ready? Seeing how it'll be the last 2 weeks, it'll either be week 16 or week 17, and with the chance of the playoffs going on as far as the Raiders are concerned.
It's just me. You know me, when you were here in Arizona and we were close and we were hanging out, I worked in the medical field. I'm telling you, this groin injury is not something that's just going to go away easily and quickly. It's just like a hamstring. It's just like a high ankle sprain. It lingers.
Yep.
So
groin injury. You can get groin injury.
So I have to say, I will be surprised if Derek Carr comes back this year.
Yes.
He might make it. If they make the playoffs, he might play a playoff game. But I'll be surprised if he comes back this regular season.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how well Marcus Mariota plays. He's going to have to play.
Well,
he's going to have to be ready to go. And, hey, if it's a 4-game sprint for them or a 3-game sprint, you're going to roll it. You're in Vegas, baby. Roll the dice.
Yes.
You got to roll the dice.
Got to stay with healthy, too, because think about this, Cuervo, or Obie. All the games that are going on, out of all the injuries that you can get shot up on, to go ahead and play. You can't get the groin injury with a shot up. You're not
big ass needle, right?
Yeah. Now, and I'll give you an example, and I don't know if you remember. I don't even know if I told you. I played a whole season at softball with a pulled hamstring. I mean, and listen, now we didn't have the benefits of shoot up, okay? But I went out there, I played about 80% of what I could actually play, which was good enough for our softball team at that time. But, that doesn't go away. But imagine just about couple more inches higher, that could have been a groin injury, and then you just see me at the bar after the game, because I'm not playing. The groin injury is enough to slow your ass down to where you don't get an opportunity to go in and make plays. If you're just a body, but especially I'll use softball because that's what we did. As far as a team sport is concerned. But if you see somebody out in the field that's out there struggling, man, you hit it at them. I mean, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna. And softball, it's easy. It's easy to direct the ball. In reality, more so than fast pitch baseball, you're lucky to get the wood on it. So, but in softball, you find that guy and you aim for it. The NFL is no different. If they know that you have a weakness someplace, they're going after it. And those offensive line, they'll start tearing them up, and then they'll get gun shy, especially at the quarterback position. If they can't move, you'll see them ducking and diving and getting out before they get hit.
And that's when you start favoring stuff. That's when you get even more injured.
Yes, absolutely. So
I just see that the Raiders, they're in a precarious position right now.
Yes.
They've got to win games. They're going to have to win games with their backup, Marcus Mariota, who, hey, by the way, yes, he started in the NFL.
Yes.
So he's not completely green or wet behind the ears. So, we're just going to see how they go and how they roll the dice and see what Mr. Coach Gruden or what's the nickname for him?
Chucky.
We'll see what Chucky does.
Still can't stand Chucky. I'd like to slap him upside his head. But yeah, Chucky.
Yeah.
And that's a contract you don't get out of. 10 years, $100 million. You don't get out of that. That guy's going to coach for 10 years, regardless. Plus, you're the Raiders, not known for spending money. So when you do, you're stuck with it. So, but at the same time, you look at the Raiders and where they are. This is a football team as far as the division of football that they play in. It's one of the toughest ones. I mean, you look at Kansas City; they're obviously the elite, the cream to the crop that rises to the top. You have Denver that might be better next year, depending on how Drew Lock will be and the coaching staff, how they put that together. And then don't forget the Chargers. The Chargers are a team that's coming on as they won on Thursday Night Football up against the Raiders. That division of football is one of the toughest divisions of football. And you got a team that's rising to the top like the Oakland Raiders. And I will tell you right now, that's going to be AFC North and AFC West. Two of the best divisions of football I love watching because there's such a major contrast because you have the AFC North as one of those, bumps and bruises, black and blue, and then you have the quote-unquote finesse of the AFC West as they'll throw the ball out, and it's kind of like, playing football with, a bunch of pillows. It's like a pillow fight over there. But they're able to put up the points, put up the scores, and that's the difference. You see more high scoring in the AFC West compared to the AFC North. That's where that's why you get such a big difference, but two of the best divisions of football.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you a lot because
even the pillow fight too, right? I know you agree with me on the pillow fight.
Yeah. The Chiefs are the cream of the crop in the AFC. Period.
Yep.
Chiefs are an amazing team. Weapons all over the field. My God, you have a tight end in the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh yeah,
leading the league in yardage.
Yeah, not a wide receiver.
No, a tight end.
But a freaking tight end. Now, and that goes back to the Gronk days. Now, obviously, we're not getting that because I think the whole plan for Gronk was what you're seeing right now to see if they can win without having to depend upon Gronk. But now you're seeing Gronk pick up his numbers. If you look at his numbers for the last 2 weeks compared to the weeks before, he was in the blockings before. The last 2 weeks, he's back out on routes, getting himself open, getting into the end zone. Tom Brady's, putting that wonderful little blanket over his shoulder, and that's Gronk, and you'll see a lot of that today, I think, as well. So you'll see Gronk. I mean, because they are in the battle for a playoff spot as well. If you take a look at the standings as far as the wild card is concerned in Tampa Bay, look where they're at. They're in the same spot your Cleveland Browns are. Can't afford to lose any football games right now, though. If Minnesota and Chicago, which I don't think they are, and Washington where they are, I don't see Tampa Bay sliding out of it, but if they go on a 3-game losing streak, which you don't see very often from Tom Brady, that could spell disaster for them as well. So lots of things as far as, certain guys. I mean, when you get to this time of the season, Obie, you have guys that just perform. They come out and they are the GOAT that they normally are, or, one of the greatest of all times. This is where they do it. And you don't see a lot of teams that are, let's go back and pull it back up. You don't see a lot of teams from Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, maybe San Francisco, depending upon the situation. That was a team that was decimated with injuries. And Arizona, Tampa Bay, Washington are lucky in reality. Well, Washington, more in the fact they got the AFC North title, or they wouldn't even be in it. But you look at those numbers, these are teams that are normally not, you think about what kind of teams they're not known for digging deep. They're not known for December football. Maybe Minnesota sometimes, but I'll call Minnesota at the beginning of the year when the head coach turned that defense over to his son. That was the worst thing that they could have ever done. The guy's name, it's not slipping. He was blind partially last year and stuff like that. His name is slipping my mind. But that coach, when he turned it over to his son, messed up the Minnesota Vikings and where they are. And now they're going to be fighting the battle to try to make it to where they are. God, now that's bothering me. Who's the coach? You got your Google? Open up your Google. Who was the coach of Minnesota?
Coach of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Open up last year.
Yeah, I for the life of me cannot think about it. But I Vikings coach. I'll put it in mind.
Mike Zimmer.
Who?
Mike Zimmer.
Yeah, Zimmer. God, I hate when I forget it. But I'm going to tell you right now, when Zimmer turned that job over to his son there, Obie, that was the biggest mistake that football team did. He turned that defense completely over to his son. And that's the reason why. And that's the reason why I put Minnesota at the bottom of this division of football. Who knew that the Chicago Bears were going to be as bad as they are? You've seen them slipping out because they don't have any backbone. Yeah, I said it, Cuervo, and I'll tell it to you when you get on air. They had no backbone, as you know. Chicago Bears are. Last time they had a good football team, Lovie Smith was the coach of that football team. Watch out for him. He's going to get a job in the NFL. Yeah, you heard it right here. He's on his way out in Illinois. That guy's going to be in the NFL somewhere. Where it will be, New York Jets. I don't know, but Lovie Smith could help the New York Jets big time as far as discipline and just playing good football. Now, will they become a winning football team if Lovie Smith ends up in New York for the Jets? That part I don't know, but they would definitely be better than the hunk of crap that they are that this year and a few years back. All right, we got a comment. Who is that? Oh, it's DC, Dennis Clark, the boss. Good morning. Good to see you, my friend, my brother, my real brother.
Yes.
So that's it. That's what this show is. We are set and ready to rock and roll. It just kind of a review of what it was. Oh, by the way, I got to pull this out here. Yeah, because I write down all the picks and everything. I'm an idiot. It would be easy if I just set up a couch potato sports show thing and send it over to Yahoo and just let everybody do it. Oh, I'm just too lazy. I like the old school way where you write it.
Old school. Old school. Right. That's the way we are. Old school.
That's the way we do things here. But I was looking at some of the games last week, and one of the games that really had me. It just ticked me off because Cuervo picked it because his woman was in the room. The Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers, unfortunately, I wanted them to do well. If you watched the show before you came on, you've seen Sonny. I'm a Teddy Bridgewater fan, and I wanted to see him do well, and I wanted him to see him take this franchise and call it Teddy's team. We're not getting that because we're already hearing rumors about what are the Carolina Panthers going to do at the quarterback position. And I don't think that the Carolina Panthers did that guy any justice. And I'm talking about Teddy Bridgewater with no freaking weapons whatsoever. And also think about that division of football in the NFC South. They had Tampa Bay to go up against. They had New Orleans to go up against. That's bad enough. And then you're fighting the battle with the Atlanta Falcons. But when you look at the other teams in that division of football, what do they have? They have weapons. Carolina Panthers have nothing. And that's a football team that is in disarray, not because of Teddy Bridgewater. It's because of the front office not getting any weapons for that football team to succeed. And that's been one of the problems with that football team in reality, because they put all the shoulders on Cam Newton, all the weight on his shoulders to try to win football games. And Teddy Bridgewater is not a Cam Newton in that way. You can't put the weight on Teddy until you develop some kind of chemistry and get some kind of weapons that he can depend on to deliver the ball to do the job. It's one of the worst situations as far as a guy is concerned. When you think about what happened to him in Minnesota, freaking walking from one field to another, gets one of the worst knee injuries that you could possibly ever have. Year and a half out before he gets back, and then he's thrown into backup roles. He gets the opportunity in Carolina to take it over to be his teams. They get no weapons and a rookie quarterback. It's so unfortunate for the guy.
I'm going to have to disagree with you just a little bit with the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers do have a weapon.
A weapon.
The problem is that weapon.
That would be one.
That's what I just said, dude. He's been injured this year.
Big time. You're talking about 6 games he hasn't been in the freaking lineup.
I know. He's on my fantasy team, dude. I love the kid.
Oh, the guy.
He's a weapon. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He's got world class speed.
Yes.
And you get him out on the open field, nobody's going to catch him.
No, absolutely. He's like Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray gets the open field, his vision is unbelievable. Same thing with McCaffrey. They got those two guys have got the best vision in the NFL. I'm just above. And when you have vision, you can be as small as Kyler Murray, because of the speed and stuff like that.
Hey.
So with you being an Arizona guy, Kyler Murray, what do you think about him? In reality, you see him week in and week out. You are stuck to listen to Ron Wolfley fall in love with something, and he probably, well, I won't say what I'm thinking, but, Ron Wolfley has a way of kissing someone's behind to where his tongue comes out of his mouth. Okay, that's the way he is, and I'm sure he's got some mad love for Kyler Murray. What is your feeling about Kyler Murray?
When they drafted him, I said that's a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw Kyler Murray coming into the NFL like RG3. He was that, in my mind, he was that kind of a quarterback, but a little bit smaller than RG3.
Not as big.
I was telling people, give him about a year, the NFL will figure him out, and then he's going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go back to what you said right before you gave Mike over to me. That kid has got some of the greatest vision. Some of the things that he does on that field, in the open field,
yep.
It's like, where in the hell did he see that coming?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he's elusive.
Yep.
I can't remember what game they were playing. I want to say it was several weeks ago out here on channel 10 Fox. They were playing, and I can't remember who the announcer was and the color guy. The color guy said this about Kyler Murray. In the 2 years that he's watching him play in the NFL, the games, he said, I have not seen one defensive player get a clean hit on him yet.
Yep.
And that's why Kyler Murray is still around and not hurt yet.
Yep.
Because he knows when, and I used to hate it to where running backs and quarterbacks would run along the sidelines, and then they know they would get hit, and they'd step out of bounds.
If you're a Walter Payton guy, you want to say, give a hit, not take a hit, and even if
but the running back who back in the day probably had, if he didn't retire early, he would have had all of the records, and that was Barry Sanders.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Barry Sanders probably had one of the greatest visions besides Walter Payton ever as a running back. And I'd see Kyler Murray. He's not a running back. He's a quarterback. He's a running quarterback.
Yep.
A running quarterback. You have Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. And I'm going to put this out here. Patrick Mahomes, when he wants to run, is just as dangerous as those two guys.
Absolutely.
And so Kyler Murray, I said in the beginning,
picked up in Buffalo.
It was a wrong pick.
Josh Allen's the same way.
Yeah, Josh Allen. Josh Allen's Josh Allen's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, he's wider.
Right about 220, 225. And you got somebody run down a defensive back.
Yep.
You want to be that defensive back trying to tackle that thing?
You want to be that guy.
But Kyler Murray, he has surprised me. He has and Cliff Kingsbury
Kingsbury, I have a
has
hard time.
adjusted
Don't worry about it.
his coaching, his offense around Kyler Murray. Now, what they need is, I'm sorry, Kenyon Drake is not he's not a feature running back.
No.
He's a good compliment somewhat, but what do I say on this show week in and week out? If you can't run the ball and you can't defend the run, you're not going to win.
Yep.
And it's the same with the Cardinals.
Yep.
You watch the Cardinals in the games that they have won. They have rushed for more than 100 to 125 yards.
Absolutely.
And they've held the other team maybe under 100 or just at 100. Any other games that's the reverse, they've lost.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, they surprised me last week winning on the East Coast.
Yep. Well, they surprised me, but here's another thing. In that game, and this is, my brothers and I, we hang out virtually on Sunday. We watch football on Sunday. We just hang out watching football on the video and stuff. And my brother, my other brother, Fred Clark.
Your other brother.
My other brother from my mom. Watching the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray, right now, Murray's hurt.
Well, he had a better game last week.
I know that. My brother pointed it out. When he's hurt, he stays in the pocket.
Yep.
And it's down there and they were down by the freaking they were in the red zone, down by the goal line many times. And you've seen, well, why is it, first down, stays in the pocket. Second down, stays in the pocket. Third down, what are you doing? Why don't you run the bootleg? There's something wrong with Kyler Murray right now. That is not good. And
Sure.
one of the things when I think about Kyler Murray and what he can do, if he's not 100%, this guy, he's going to get destroyed. And normally when you think about running quarterbacks, where do they get destroyed? It's not in the pocket. It's running along the sideline when they take the big hit. And that's not what we're getting with Kyler Murray. He's going to get destroyed in the freaking pocket because it's outside of the norm of what he does. He instinctively knows when to run the football, and he's pretty damn good at it.
The thing about that is if he's in the pocket and defensive lineman gets him in his grasp, you know that defensive lineman says, hey, I know his left shoulder's hurt, so I'm going to tackle him and then drive him down into that
and
left
they did
shoulder.
It.
And they will.
Yep.
They will. And it's going to happen.
Yep.
And so good thing about Kyler, it's a left shoulder. It's not a right shoulder. But your brothers are right. Yep. And I said this a couple of weeks ago that he was hurt. Yep. And that's why he wasn't running.
Yep.
And when Kyler Murray is not doing Kyler Murray things with that Cardinal offense, they're not the Cardinal offense, and they're going to struggle to win games.
Yep. And they did. They got lucky to get that game on the East Coast. And you're right.
Giants, really?
You called it hard. You pulled out the gavel and slammed that one down last week. That one you missed, but that's okay. We do that a lot.
I did. But
that being said,
dig it, sucker.
Oh, I know I can dig it. The big wiener from last week, the punk that he is. Yeah, he went 12-4 last week. Took over week number 14. It's Bryce from Brooklyn. Love to see the man. Look at that smile. He's got the golden smile. He's got the $1 million smile. And he believe me, he's not alone often. That's all I gotta say. Good morning, Bryce. Good to see you. Look at that ugly hat this guy got on right there.
Hey Bryce, how'd those Steelers do last week?
You want to know how ugly that? You want to know how ugly that hat is, Bryce? That's a hat from 1975. Okay,
no, it's not.
Actually,
no. Hey, Chris, you're wrong. It's 1976.
So good morning.
This is old school,
my friend. What's going on, my man?
You know what? The most Brownsian thing that happened to me today is Obie talking trash on my Steelers after his team lost.
That's okay.
That's the most
good.
I was disappointed. And I called both losses. I said the
did.
Steelers would still lose this game. I had them slated to lose to the Bills. I thought this was the game that they would finally break the undefeated streak and lose. I called the Ravens beating the Browns.
Yes.
Listen, that was the best game of the year.
For them.
I give a lot of credit to the Brown offense.
Absolutely.
Baker Mayfield was put in a position where he had to be the man. I love the way he played against a very good secondary. I respect how he played. It's one game, but I respect the throws he made. After the Ravens went up, Sonny, off that crazy Lamar Jackson play, I mean, how good was he? Credit to him in the passing game. Baker Mayfield came back and threw a dime on the back shoulder. I was like, that is a number one pick throw. That right there, I need to see more of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as the show was called, having said that,
Yeah.
the Browns defense.
Oh.
You know what the problem with the Browns defense is? Outside of Myles Garrett, who do you fear on that defense?
I don't.
There are 11 guys if I'm an offense and I've got any type of skill, I'm like, oh, we got confidence against these guys. We can
stay away from that guy.
Yeah. I don't. The only one that might be
that guy. Just stay away from that guy.
The only guy that might be closest to that is Denzel Ward a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's it.
But Myles, he got hurt during that game, and he didn't play. He didn't play the whole game.
I think Olivier Vernon's a nice player. I took him on Pittsburgh, but he's not a guy that I'm like, man, he's just going to wreck the game. There's no difference makers on defense, and down the stretch, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt the Browns. Stay tuned. Starting today.
Oh, God.
And that combination. Think of this.
Are you flipping crazy?
Sonny, look at my picks, Sonny. Look at my picks.
Yeah, but that being said, just that problem on the defense. Okay, what makes good quarterbacks turn into great quarterbacks is they overcome the problems that they have on the defensive side of the ball. And listen, I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's not capable. He might be able to do it. And that's a big might because this is the first taste that he has the opportunity to show that he can be the guy. Now, and regardless of the defensive, problems that they're having, those deficiencies, he's got to get over. The defense just got to play defense. He's got to get over that. And never mind the fact that he's got to make plays. Never mind he's got to put it on his shoulders. That's what makes great quarterbacks great. All right, you can be an average quarterback in the NFL, but you could be sitting right now with 6 or 7 wins in the season at this point of the season, or you can be at 10, 11, or 12, which is where you see the grade. And he needs to step into that role because let's do this. You haven't seen it, but looking at the wild card for week number 15, they're hanging. Listen, they're number 5, and they're hanging on to a spot. And if you look at the number 5 position on the other side, Tampa Bay, they're all right. You're not worried about Tampa Bay. And Cleveland is hanging on that spot because they have Indianapolis, they have Miami, they have Baltimore right there. The Raiders missed out on an opportunity. You had the Raiders. They missed out to show that they can be that team. They're not that team, obviously, and I pretty much have written them out for the rest of the season. Even with 2 wins, I don't think they make it into the playoffs. So that really killed that loss on Thursday night. Really killed the Raiders. It's the reason why you picked the Raiders. I know you did because you saw them moving in there. What did you see in that Raider game that you wish that you would have saw that you did?
I mean, defensively, just not enough playmaking.
Yes,
not enough playmaking defensively. I mean, look. Here's the thing. Sonny. You have to have a defense in the playoffs that can be extremely serviceable and hold teams. Your offense is probably going to have to win you a game.
Yes.
The Raiders have a team where their offense can win them a game, but that defense, just the collapse. You as good as Herbert is, still a rookie.
Yep.
He didn't do anything to confuse him. He was tight in the pocket. It's just. It's just that's a devastating loss for them. Yeah. And quite frankly, to bring it back, even though it was a great game, Devastating loss for the Browns. They've been swept by the Ravens, so that's going to be the tiebreaker now.
Yeah,
You got that. And let me tell you something. Obie doesn't want to admit it.
I'm not going to admit it.
I put the seed in the back of his head last week.
You did.
Oh, it's slowly coming to fruition.
It's break ground now. It was underground. Now it's beginning to break.
Sonny, all I need, and Obie's going to be watching, all I need is for the Saints to win today.
Yes.
And if the Saints win today, and I think we're going to get the win against the Bungles on Monday night, my scenario is setting up perfect.
Just the way he wrote, just like he's the author of the North.
Trust me, he won't admit it. Obie can see it. He can see it happening.
I know it's there. It's like that proverbial,
he's gonna do the Fred Sanford. I'm coming to join you, honey. After it happens,
like that, the big elephant in the room that I don't want to see, that I don't want to hear, but I'm hearing it. It's kind of going like this. It's like knocking.
It's like a light knock. It's not loud yet.
It might be a little bit louder this week, but I don't think so because as Sonny showed you the standings and the playoff picture, this week I have the number 4 seed Titans, the Browns, the Ravens, and I think the Dolphins. I have all of them and the Titans all winning today or this week. So, like I told Sonny before you came on, it's playoff football right now.
It's
you got to win.
Yep.
You can't lose and oh my God, hope somebody helps you out. Forget that.
No,
win.
You got to go in there. You got to take it.
And funny enough, it's amazing to say this for an 11-2 team. Monday night is a must-win for Pittsburgh.
Absolutely,
they have to win. Now, all my scenarios go out the window. If the Steelers go out and lose to the Bungles on Monday Night Football, our season. We can make the playoffs. Our season is over.
There'll be riots in Pittsburgh, man.
Our season is over. You can't lose this game
in a row.
This is a must-win game for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The
other 2 games, we'll get to that when we get to it. The Steelers better win on Monday night.
They'll scramble their brain if they don't win.
They lose Monday night. They come out, can't run the ball, run for 11 yards, bunch of turnovers, stupid stuff like that, and lose this game. Their season is over. There is no. It don't matter if they lose. They better not lose on Monday night. Monday night is a must-win. They need to go out there and handle their business and do what they should do against a team like the Bungles.
They need to put the game away early.
Now, that being the case, you look at that point taken. Look at that head coach. Been there, 11 years now? 11 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at the head coach over in Cleveland. Okay, so that alone, the coaching experience to where you go into that, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you're nervous on those games. They go into those games almost relaxed. It's like they smoked it's like they took the hit before they went out on the field. You know what I'm saying? They don't sweat it. And that's the problem. Sometimes you get too relaxed, but they can't go into that game. They need to go in and skull drag the Bungles is what they need to do. Not only do they need to win, they need to get the confidence back that they can win football games. And that when you lose 2 in a row, okay, you need to get back on track. And not only do you got to get back on track, you got to get on track the right way. Barely making it out of Cincinnati puts doubts in young kids' minds up there. Tomlin has got to get that back, and the way he doesn't have to deal with doubt is get that win this Monday night. You're absolutely.
By the way, who prescribed this game for the Steelers this week?
So.
God, this is a great prescription for
I know, right? Hey, listen, if there's Jerome Bettis once famously said, and we couldn't run on the Bengals in the first week. Yes. Jerome Bettis famously said, if you want to get right running the football, you play the Cincinnati Bungles.
Yes.
That was before this is the game for them to get right. But who's to say they will? They couldn't run on the first game. So let's see what we can do. But this is a must win. But Sonny, I've got it. You see my picks?
Yeah.
I have 2 upsets.
Call it.
One, I've got them Saints. I was close last week, Sonny, on the Dolphins.
Yes.
I thought they were going to pull that off, but they didn't.
Right.
I've got the Saints, beating the Chiefs.
Right.
And since they are playing for their division life, I've got the Giants upsetting the Brownies.
You know what? This is what I'm going to tell you.
I can see it.
Alike. That's all I got to say because I'm on both of those.
Oh, Sonny's picking them too.
I'm on New Orleans. I'm on New Orleans because of Drew Brees. And here's one thing I used to never do. I never picked a football team with the guy coming off injury to win their first game back. I've never done it. This guy makes me look like an idiot every time I do that. Drew Brees. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick him. Now he's going to drop the damn thing, but that's just the way I work. But I just, he's proved enough when he comes off an injury. That guy doesn't skip a freaking beat. That's the one thing. Now, that being said, if he wasn't in there, you and I both know you'd be on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's all about Drew Brees in that football game. Of course, we'll talk about that one a little bit later. The other one you were talking about is the New York Giants. You're right. The New York Giants. Who they got, by the way? I was the Giants. They're home on the road.
Home against Obie's Brownies.
Yeah. Oh, the Brown. Oh, you know what? Whoa, my pen just.
Oh my God.
My pen just exploded from the excitement of what that has all over it. Oh my God, what a mess!
What are you doing, dude?
Sunday night football.
Maybe that's the bad news. Maybe I shouldn't do that. That's the omen of what that is. My pen just went completely kaboom. So that might have been the mistake. Anyway, hey, before we do that, and I gotta hit one button because I get you to the top of the hour, right?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Outside of week number 15, we had some crazy things going on. Okay,
The blasphemy!
I cannot believe what I heard last week.
Can we talk?
I am absolutely sorry. There are some crazy people in this world, and I am not one of them, although some people would think I am.
Let me strap in. I know where he's going.
Anybody, anybody that would think. And I'm going to jump on Cuervo when he gets in here. That guy, you want to talk about Sonny?
I saw Cuervo make that statement. I saw that.
Unbelievable statement. First of all, Terrell Owens is a bad MFer. Okay, he can't carry. I mean, he can't even pick up the tissue that Jerry Rice is. He can't even pick up a tissue. And Jerry Rice dropped the tissue. I'm talking about a tissue.
Ooh, this is a big one. Whoa, this is a roller coaster.
That's how much of the fact that Terrell Owens couldn't carry his job. Never mind. A freaking guy in Randy Moss who thinks he's better than Jerry Rice. It went,
How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity.
That is insanity. I mean, just imagine Jerry Rice not being able to be touched.
Obie, you got to go on the ride. This is a long one.
Jerry Rice would have so many yards he'd go to freaking San Francisco to freaking New York if he didn't have the cushion that those new guys get. Now, Terrell Owens to a certain point had a little bit, he benefited at the end. But Jerry Rice had him hanging all over him, for God's sake.
Oh my God.
Get freaking real. Hey, Randy, go back to your room. Go back to your days where you're snorting up whatever the hell you're snorting at that time. Okay, continue it on because that statement.
Blasphemy! The blasphemy!
Listen. It's the dumbest NFL take. Might be in the NFL history. The most dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That was a long one, Obie.
What a jack, you know what? He is a freaking jack, you know what?
How about, wait a minute, How about Cuervo coming in and agreeing with that statement?
I know.
I couldn't believe it. Like
Cuervo is here for my balance. Okay, Cuervo is here for my balance. There's no question. Sonny Clark is old school. In fact, I might have. I'm so old school. I think I might have invented old school. Okay, he balanced on the new stuff, but it was the nonsense. Yeah, you're right, man. I'm right here. I got some aspirin. The blood still gets up to my brain. You know, that is the dumbest take.
Where is Cuervo?
Coming from a football player, and you want to disrespect the GOAT. And what Jerry Rice, so classy, just puts on his hat, and you know what I'm talking about. The hat that has the word GOAT right there.
It's so you know what the irony is of that? It's complete projection. Oh, here he is. Listen, it's complete projection because out of that trio, the reality is, to Sonny's point, Randy's actually number 3.
Yes.
Because Randy, as a football player, was not better than Terrell Owens.
He might be number 4.
I'm going to go and look. Jerry is the GOAT. Yeah. I think T.O., out of those 3, I'm taking on my team. Jerry 1, T.O. 2, Randy 3.
Yeah, but he might be number 4.
Who would you put number 3 over him?
Larry Fitzgerald with never a quarterback. Ever. And that Kurt, listen, love me, Kurt Warner. Take away the Kurt Warner years. Larry Fitzgerald did it without a freaking quarterback.
I'm going to take Randy over Larry because of Randy's freakish speed and explosiveness in that case. But the problem is, when it comes to explosive play, like Randy might be the most explosive receiver we've seen in terms of his speed, but T.O., I think people don't realize how fast and how explosive and strong T.O. was anywhere on the field. Plus, he was a technician. He was a route runner. He was tough. He was a better overall football player than Randy Moss.
Absolutely.
Larry Fitzgerald, speed-wise, was just on level, speed-wise, on level with the greatest of all time. Jerry Rice was never known for his speed.
I think it's great.
Wait a minute. Let me finish. Bryce, did you not watch the Super Bowl with the Cardinals and the Steelers?
Yep.
Larry catched that ball down the middle and outran the Steelers, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
You tell me he doesn't have speed?
No. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying his speed, I think there's a gap between his ability to move and get explosive versus Randy's.
Right.
And on that point, that's why I might give Randy the slight edge. But overall against T.O., no, because I think that gap is a lot smaller. And I think T.O. is a better overall player, and none of them are as good as Jerry. Because Jerry could catch the football on the 5-yard line, a 5-yard slant, and go 90 yards anytime. Yeah. Because during the game, he was elite on every level. Absolutely. So that negates just being able to run fast. Jerry can catch it and go 90. That was the thing people were scared of. Yes. They were terrified that Jerry's going to catch that 5-yard slant anytime and go 90 yards.
And think about this, okay? The catch was not caught by the great one. The catch was caught by Dwight Clark, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't worry about Jerry per se. They didn't worry about Rice in that. They're worried about what he can do after he catches the ball. And I'm talking about it all the time on this show.
Don't hold back.
If you don't have yards after the catch, you don't have a great wide receiver. Now, a lot of that has to do with the quarterback, and I'll even throw this out there for you. I don't believe I'm going to say this. Odell Beckham would be in the talks if Eli Manning could lead this guy, if he could throw the football. Because right now, you think about it, Eli Manning.
Talented enough.
Between the freaking ears.
Yeah, I know your ears are burning, but here's the thing about that. The problem with Odell Beckham is his prime is behind him, and he had Eli Manning as his quarterback. If he had a quarterback that could lead him down the field instead of having to make the miraculous catch all the time, then we might be talking about Odell Beckham. Listen, I can't stand the guy. That makes me want to hurl. Okay, he makes me want to puke up my coffee. Okay, all right. So that being said, you think about the type of guy, and that's the reason why I like Larry Fitzgerald over Randy Moss, is because the guy never had a quarterback, and he got the job done with the yak and yak.
Don't hold back.
Just like Jerry Rice. It's just like Jerry Rice. You get yards after the catch, that's where you can become great, because everybody can make the miraculous catch in practice that Odell Beckham would make, or right there get caught and get hit immediately. That's what Odell Beckham is. So the difference between not even having a quarterback is the reason why I have Fitzgerald at 3. And if you want to argue numbers don't lie, number 3, Larry Fitzgerald, by the way, just in case you get
the greatest of all time, Jerry Rice. Fitzgerald's number 2. You want to know why I'm putting those two guys at the top of the cream of the crop? Is because of what's between the ears.
Yes.
And class. Did you ever hear Jerry Rice? Did you ever hear Larry Fitzgerald? I want the freaking ball. Give me the ball. Quit whining, baby. Go sit on the bench and shut up.
So for me, I care less about that. I'm only thinking of on the field. And those 3, in that trio that Randy brought up, it's Jerry number 1, Terrell number 2.
Absolutely.
Just based on those 2 as football players, I felt they could do more than Randy could do on the football field, and do it more at an elite level when I put all the factors together.
By the way, this is so funny. I'm going to do this. Hold on, because we got to bring him on in, because he's the fine co-host of this program.
You didn't know?
In case you didn't know,
somebody!
It's Cuervo on a Sunday morning, coming in looking like the grace of God behind him. He's got the rays of light. And this
I love
that Randy Moss. Randy Moss. I think
Randy
he's
Moss
frozen. Cuervo's frozen.
Cuervo, you must have got a bag of drugs for Christmas.
Hey, what do they say about Sunday? You got to come to Jesus. And that's what we got going on right here. We got to come to Jesus on the fine go.
Cuervo, you need to repent of this blasphemy on a Sunday morning that you said this week. You got to answer for that.
Yeah, you do.
Answer. By the way, guys, I can hear every word. I got to get the ink off of my hands. It's all over and it's getting everywhere. But I'm listening. So, Cuervo, I'll just lead you. You said that Randy Moss is the greatest of all time. So before we completely blast you in. Sorry about that. That was a little early. But I'll give you the opportunity to have your say, because he is the youngin' of the bunch. So that being said, Cuervo, Randy Moss, greatest of all time. Just in case you didn't hear it, I'll just remind you, Randy Moss couldn't pick up a tissue dropped by Jerry Rice, never mind his jock.
Okay, guys. All right. Hey, listen. I secretly was listening to everything you said, and I heard all the mocking and all the smack talk about how I'm on drugs. Let me tell you something. There's no denying statistically, Jerry Rice is head and shoulders above everybody else. And there's nobody that's going to touch those records. Nobody. And so, like 98% of people, if that's what you want to base your opinion on, and that's what you want to base your argument about, then by all means, go right ahead. I am always a person, and you guys know this because I never talk about numbers on this show. Did you know that this team converts this percentage on third? I just watch. I know what I see. And let me tell you something. Everybody's got all the respect in the world for Jerry Rice. And even I do. And so I'm not saying that Jerry Rice wasn't a great receiver. So let's not be mistaken here. Well, go ahead and strap in there, Bryce.
Uh-oh.
Where
we go?
Do I need to get strapped in? Okay, here we go.
Because the rain's coming. It's coming, Obie.
All
Let's
right,
get
I'm
ready.
ready.
Numbers.
Are we going?
Numbers mean nothing to me, and people respected. People respect Jerry Rice, okay? People respected Jerry Rice, but people feared Randy Moss. To me, that's the difference. I never heard anybody say, "Oh God, we got a plan for Jerry," because Jerry. Everybody, you knew that it was coming. You knew what you were going to get with Jerry Rice. Okay, so you game planned for him, but it was more about the quarterbacks that he had. Okay, so when you have two Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Young and Montana, of course your job is going to be easy as a wide receiver. Randall Cunningham, Dante Culpepper, Kerry Collins. That's who Randy Moss had to work with before he finally got Tom Brady and started breaking receiving records. Imagine if he had. No, it's my turn. Don't even talk about Larry Fitzgerald. He ain't even close.
Oh my God!
I've never seen this rant before.
My mother-in-law's turtle in the backyard is faster than Larry Fitzgerald, but that's beside the point. That's beside the point.
Oh my God!
Dante Culpepper, Randall Cunningham, Kerry Collins, Matt Castle. These are the guys that Randy Moss played with, and we're busting. Brad Johnson. Those are the quarterbacks Randy Moss had. Okay, so for Jerry Rice,
can I go next? Because I really want to. I want to say something.
It was handed to him on a silver platter with Joe Montana and Steve Young. Okay, and so Randall Cunningham. When it comes to Randy Moss, you can't deny that people feared him. Coordinators feared him, and nobody ever says you got riced.
Wow.
Really young.
Really
young because
Sonny, no one feared Jerry Rice. That's what Cuervo said.
See, that's the reason why I have a young guy. Alan, see, he was too young to hear the fact that Randy Moss was the most feared wide receiver in NFL history. See, he's just a little too young, maybe. But I like it. But listen, I'll even go to the extent. Randy Moss might have been the most dynamic wide receiver in NFL history, but doing it on a consistent level. By the way, how many rings does Randy Moss have? How many? Oh, yeah. How many does Terrell Owens have?
0. Even my boy who
should have one, that being Larry Fitzgerald, because they should have beat your Steelers, by the way. That being said, he should have one, but he has 0. MVPs. How many MVPs did he have there? Yeah. Numbers don't lie. And yes, if you want to criticize Jerry Rice for having a long career, go ahead and do so. How many times was he hurt in his career?
No, once. 1996.
One time, and Randy Moss was hurt all the time. And the reason why Terrell Owens is ahead of Randy Moss is because Terrell Owens will sign a waiver to play in the Super Bowl regardless what happens to me in this game. I won't hold the Philadelphia Eagles responsible. I will play in this game. He's got
He was the best offensive player. Well. He was the best offensive player in that game.
So
oh no!
I had to play.
He was a good player.
Yeah, good player.
On any given Sunday too.
Yep, a good player there. But
hey, Sonny, can I make a comment to Cuervo?
Sure.
Okay, so Cuervo, you sat there and said to us that Randy Moss didn't have a quarterback. to throw
Until
him the
Tom
ball.
Brady. Until Tom
Until
Brady.
Tom Brady. So I'm going to use your words right against you about Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald didn't have a quarterback to throw him the ball except Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner. You want to talk some bad quarterbacks? The Arizona Cardinals might have the worst lineup at the quarterback position in NFL history.
I don't have the quarterbacks' names, but I can tell you they weren't very good.
No, they were not very good. But
so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cuervo. I do not agree with Randy Moss being the greatest of all time. I do not agree with you saying that he didn't have anybody except for Tom Brady and yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? Randy Moss, I'll give you, Randy Moss was a good, maybe a really good receiver. When his prime, nobody could cover him. No one. Because he had speed, he had length. He didn't really have the toughness, but he had speed and length. And you say, oh, guess what? We'll just throw up the ball. He'll get it. And then he'll outrun everybody. Yes, Jerry Rice did have Joe Montana and Steve Young. Hey, that's a great duo to have, right? But I'm sorry. I to my grave, and every day from until then, I will take Larry Fitzgerald over Randy Moss. No one will surpass Jerry Rice. No one.
And just
I guess I got to head out. But this
all right,
has been,
Bryce, always good. We got you.
So, hey, Bryce, I got you down for the Browns, right? The Browns, right? Yeah.
listen, Giants over the Brownies. That's my upset. And once that happens, I'm gonna hear something. It's gonna be Obie's head exploding.
Yeah.
Hey, can I reach out to you personally on Facebook Messenger when your Steelers lose to the Bengals?
Oh yeah.
And
By the way,
Absolutely, if that happens. Absolutely. All right,
By the
guys.
way,
Bryce, always good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the entertainment. That was a lot of fun. Always good to see Bryce in Brooklyn. And in fact, by the way, just
Look, it's not my fault these old heads don't want to accept the fact that Randy Moss is the greatest. It's not my
oh
fault.
my God.
By the way, just to let you know, 2002 is when Larry Fitzgerald joined the NFL. His first quarterback was the end of Jake Plummer's career. And then after that, Jeff Blake, Josh McCown, Sean King, John Navarre. They didn't have Kurt Warner, but then Matt Leinart, Derek
Hall of Famers right there.
John Skelton, Max Hall, Kevin Kolb, Ryan Lindy, Brian freaking Hoyer, Kevin Cobb, Carson Palmer, not bad, but Drew Stenton. Those are the names. Blaine Gabbert, by the way, even got part of that as well. Nice. Never mind Josh Rosen and a guy that could have been but was injury, Sam Bradford. Those are just to name all of them. But that's the laundry list of
There's a lot of Hall of Famers there, Sonny.
Yeah. So really, in reality, I say it all the time.
Don't hold back.
Yards after the catch. It's all it is. But it is what it is. By the way, good morning, Cuervo. Good to see you with that wonderful Bears hat on, your Santa Claus Bears hat. Where'd you pick that up?
Oh gosh, Sonny, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember. I've had it for so long, I can't remember where I got it from. I must have bought it at a store somewhere, but
it's the first time we've seen it in 10 years that you've been on this show.
Really? I thought I've worn it before.
Maybe you have, but it's this old mind right here. I'm lucky to remember my name.
There's no air up there.
By the way, just warm. Yeah. By the way, just to give you an update on the standings at week number 5, you moved into second place, Cuervo. Mark that. Yes, second place, because Bryce and the boss are tied at 130 and 76. You're 2 games behind at 128 and 78. I'm 1 game behind you at 127 and 79. Unfortunately, Tarvin hasn't been able to keep up with his picks, but he'd be there. I got news for you. I think Tarvin would probably be there. The guy knows football. So, but right there in round. So, we're right there with the experts, by the way. I took a look on the experts, and from our leaders, there's only a 1-game leaders from most of all the quote-unquote experts that are out there. So I used to say we're just as good as we're better. It's just what it is. We're better, but it is. Good morning. By the way, you had the Raiders on Thursday, but you had the 2 games on Saturday. The Raiders unfortunately dropping the ball. I wanted to ask this, Bryce, but I didn't get to ask. If Derek Carr becomes healthy, does Derek Carr get his job back if Mariota has a good week next week?
Ooh, I think he'll get his job back. I don't see Gruden as that type of guy that will, just stay with the hot hand. He seems like more of a, you have your job until you lose it type coach. I know I could be completely wrong.
That's an old school mentality here. So.
Sure, yeah, but I could be completely wrong too. I mean, I don't know, but I have a feeling that Carr would still get his starting job back.
Yeah, I don't know. It just all depends. But he does have the groin injury. So that's.
Groin.
Yeah, you missed it earlier. We had.
Injury.
So there we go. By the way, someone's texting. Oh, it's James. Oh, James is back. So how long are you able to hang out there, Obie? By the way, are you going to hang?
I'm going to have to be going here pretty soon. So,
all right, cool.
My picks came across.
Yes, got you.
I'm picking the Browns and Cuervo. Are you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
I'm picking the Bears to beat the Vikings today.
Wow. Both
teams are fighting for their playoff lives, and Bears are going to win.
So
I'm thinking, is it the Bears are going to win their 3rd road game in a row?
Wow.
They just might.
Wow.
Maybe.
So,
maybe Christmas comes early for me.
I'm going to have to take off here pretty soon. So, but Cuervo, I've talked to you before, and when I was just in total utter shock when I heard that you made that statement about Randy Moss. We're just having a lot of fun, and I will bust your chops on it every time if I need to. But hey, everybody, like I say, this is America. Everybody's entitled to, and that's great. And we all probably think that we have different, greatest running backs of all time. Cuervo, I bet you probably think that Walter Payton is. I would have to say Walter Payton and probably Barry Sanders, probably the greatest running backs. Well, Jim Brown. Those are the top 3. Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders.
I'd have to agree with you.
And they could actually, you could throw them up and catch whichever one first, and you'd have a good case of that's the number 1 running back.
Yeah, well, and you're right about that. But obviously, I got to go with my heart. I got to go with who I've grown to love, and everyone in Chicago still, has a lot of love for. I mean, that's never going to go away. So, but Jim Brown was just as great as Walter and Barry Sanders. So, but for me, going back real quick, like I said, there's no denying the numbers. All right, I'm not even going to try and sit here and say that Moss had better numbers. But I know what I saw when I watched. And I remember Jerry Rice, so don't think that I forgot who Jerry Rice is. I know exactly who Jerry Rice is.
I know who
exactly
Jerry
what
Rice is.
Jerry Rice,
Cuervo.
what he was about. I know who he is, Sonny. And I know he had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and it was easy. But no, but when it comes to the numbers, when it comes to the work ethic, I can't argue for Randy. I can't, and that's gonna always be the biggest criticism of Randy Moss is that he was lazy. He got lazy in his
Is that true, Cuervo? I'm asking you.
100% true. 100% true. He got lazy as his career went on. Now, when he got to New England, obviously Bill Belichick got that out of him. He took the laziness out of his ass, and he got him back into doing it the Patriot way. And you saw what happened, and he broke records. So.
Yep. Just as Obie
we
said,
talking about practice, not a game. We talking about practice,
and they're in itself, and by the way, we have a lot of fun on this show. So no, by the way, in case you didn't know, Obie, no one takes us completely seriously. Thank God.
Oh my God! What?
but that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. You think about it. If he forget quarterbacks, because you're right, he didn't have a lot of guys throwing the football either. That in itself. But if he had a head coach that would keep his head on straight, not only the fact of the off the field problems that he did have, and folks want to deny it, but he did. He had the problems off the field as well. There's no question he would, and if he had the longevity of Jerry Rice, he'd be right there. I think we. Yeah,
Gentlemen,
fun that we did.
I got to get going.
Good to see you. I got picks.
Merry Christmas.
Yep, and wrong cop.
Merry Christmas, and then next Sunday I might be on, but hey, guess what? I live in Arizona, so I might be golfing next Sunday morning. So I'll get my picks in and everything. So it's supposed to be like 70 degrees out here today.
Hey, is Dobson Ranch still the baddest golf course in the? I mean, it is one of the most challenging. It's one of the most challenging golf courses in Arizona, and it's a municipal court in a residential area.
Yeah, Dobson Ranch is still there. Honestly, I haven't been there. I haven't played there in like 10 years. So, but I go to. There's a couple of golf courses out here by me. One is Trilogy. Yeah. One is Trilogy, which is a retirement area.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Toka Sticks, which is on the ASU East campus. Mm-hmm. And Sonny, you'd like that one. It's long. Mm-hmm. It's straight.
Yes.
It's got lots of trees. Not a whole lot of water, but you would like that course.
I love straight because I can hit the ball straight, just not as far as everybody else would.
Yeah.
Piss me off.
But anyway, Merry Christmas, guys. And
have a good one. Always good to see you.
Right?
Definitely. Take care. Good to see you, Obie.
Hey, Cuervo. Tell the wifey I'm sorry, but I can't pick the Broncos. Or I didn't pick the Broncos this week again.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. So
he got closed out that night.
Yeah.
But it is. Good to see you, Obie. We'll check you next week. Have a great holiday as far as that is concerned. Sand traps, yes. So that being said, good morning, Cuervo. Always good to see you on a Sunday morning. And going through, by the way, just in case you didn't know, the NBA kicks off on the NBA tips off on the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, and they got a long laundry list of games on the NBA on Christmas Day. Did you see that list of games that they had on that they're going to play all day?
No,
because you're like me. I don't even know if I care. I don't.
I'm telling you right now, I
don't care.
But what I did know is that there will be one NFL game on Christmas Day.
There is?
Yes, sir.
Friday.
Yes.
Well, here's one thing I did not know. I did not know that. I did not know there was a game on Christmas Day, which makes the day much better because I might have sat and watched Hulu all day long on Christmas Day more than anything. But if there is a football game on, what do you know who's playing off the top of your head?
Sonny, of course I do. I'm your co-host. I'm supposed to know these things. It's the Saints and the Vikings.
Oh, that'll be a good game.
Yeah.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
So, and especially
which is not the normal, which is why I was shocked too when I saw that they're having a Christmas Day game. I'm like, wait, this isn't.
It's not the weekend. It's not Sunday. And
Right.
every once in a while they'll towards the end of the season you'll see games on Saturday. There's probably games on Saturday too, which is what we saw yesterday. And the Buffalo Bills and Green Bay Packers. Everybody had those across the board. That was easy enough as it is. That being said, you had a real good week last week. You went 11-5. But Bryce went 12-4 last week. I wanted to just slap him across the room. But he had a good week. So that being said, are you ready to kick this one off? You want to get it? What we're going to do is we'll do 2 games, then we got to take a break, got to pay some bills, and then we'll come back. That being said, we might as well just start it off with your team as far as the Chicago Bears are concerned. So let's go to that one. Chicago Bears. Who are they playing, Cuervo? I know they're playing in the early slot.
Yeah, they're playing Minnesota.
We're just talking about Minnesota. I'm getting messages all over to the group. Okay, cool. That being said, this game right here is all important. So you haven't seen it yet. So I'll put it up as the wild card standings in the NFL. And on the NFC side, both of these teams right there on the outside looking in. Washington or whoever wins the NFC East will have that number 7 spot because they're just that bad. But the Arizona Cardinals are a team that I think can slide out of that spot. I think Tampa Bay will hold on. That means there's one more spot, and the Bears are in contention in reality for that spot as Minnesota and Chicago both 6-7. And if the Arizona Cardinals lose today, Cuervo, and they're playing Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts as starting quarterback, it kind of changes the way you look at that game in reality. So if Carson Wentz was starting that game, I'd be on the Arizona Cardinals. We'll talk about that one a little bit later. But this game right here, both teams are holding on by the hairs of their chin. What are you looking at in this game as far as who you're going to end up picking to win this game?
Well, I need the Bears to win. I need them to win. Do I know that it will happen? Look, I think about the game that they played last time, that Monday night game, and it's just NBA, nothing big. No breaking news, Sonny. I will let you know if it's breaking news. But it's just NBA. It's not a big deal. Anyway, what was I going to say? Dalvin Cook ate the Bears up that Monday night game, and I remember it. I remember it because I got to keep it down a little bit. She's in school, but anyway, I remember Dalvin Cook really giving the Bears a lot of trouble, and this was at home on a Monday night game. What I don't want to see is a repeat of last game. So I think the Bears need to really tighten up, as far as the run game is concerned. Look, last week, hey, things looked good against a bad Houston defense. So I'm glad that they got the running game going. Maybe it kind of gives them a little bit of momentum. Minnesota's defense is not what it once was. And so that might work in the Bears' favor. I just I think the biggest difference though between that game and today's game, and I'm going to get the monkey, so I'm expecting it. But Mitch Trubisky is going to start this game. And look, you can laugh all you want. He's actually played all right in the 2 games that he's been back.
I can't even hit the monkey, Cuervo. I agree with you. If you watch the games, which we do, okay, if you watch the games, you've seen exactly what that was. He has it. And it goes back to what I said at least 6 to 7 weeks ago, Cuervo. It's about creds with your quarterback. If you're the head coach, you need to have the creds in order to get to that quarterback. Now, you look at the head coach of the Bears right now. Okay, what's his name? It's slipping my mind.
Matt, I hope he gets fired. Nagy.
Yeah, Matt Nagy. He has the credentials with a Mitchell Trubisky because Mitchell Trubisky will listen to him. Okay, Mitchell Trubisky hasn't done anything in his career not to listen to him. That being said, when you have Nick Foles, who has the Super Bowl ring and the head coach Jones, that is where the breakup happened, and it happened 6 to 7 weeks ago. Ever since then, the Chicago Bears have been in a down. They've been in a spiral, not just a down. They've been in a spiral and have not been able to recover until that change back to Mitchell Trubisky started. Now, again, they're not necessarily winning all the football games. Don't get me wrong, but we're seeing a better performance from the Bears games, Cuervo, and I think that's a big difference as well.
Yeah, no, that is a big difference, and I don't know if it's, we touched on this when the change happened from Mitch to Nick Foles, that maybe this is what Mitch needed. He needed that wake-up call to say, look, just because you were the number 2 pick in the draft guarantees you nothing. You know how many number 1 busts there have been
Many
in the NFL? More than there have been successful number 1 pick. So if you compare number 1 overall picks that are quarterbacks, you compare the ones that have been busts to the ones that have been actually good and played in the league for a long time, or if you even want to go as far as them becoming Hall of Famers, the number of busts outweigh the good ones by a huge margin. So my point is, I think that's what Mitch needed to realize was that, look, dude, you were the number 2 pick in the draft, and the Bears even traded up to get you. But this is a business at the end of the day, and we will drop you in a heartbeat if you don't perform, period. And I think that's what Mitch needed to understand. Not, maybe he just thought that because he was a top draft pick that, they're not going to let me go. There's no way. They have too much to lose. Listen, no. It's funny, Sonny, because quarterback is the one position that you have to overpay for, but you're willing to drop people at a dime.
Right.
So because you got to have the right one. That's why you have to. It's crazy. Like teams will continue to overpay just so they can find the right guy. And I think that's what Mitch needs to realize is that nothing will be handed to him just because he's the number 2 pick in the draft.
And think about this. The Chicago Bears don't spend money on the quarterback. Last time they did it was Jay Cutler, and look how that turned out for him. They're paying Foles, I think, $23 million. So in the Chicago Bears' mind, money doesn't at the quarterback position doesn't give you wins because they won't spend $30 million on the quarterback that they would need in order for them to become successful at that position. So that's one of the things as far as the Bears are concerned. Now, jump back into this. I want to go back into the last game. They beat the Falcons 30-26, but after that, Cuervo, a 8-point loss to the Colts. Then they beat the Buccaneers, which is good. After that, though, beating the Panthers was a good thing for them. But then the Rams, then the Saints, then the Titans, then the Vikings, which, by the way, they got the Vikings. The Vikings got the first one. Then the Packers, then the Lions, beating them, kind of in the last minute. They don't get the win after, a total of almost 6 games, Cuervo. They've dropped in a row. They beat the Titans last week pretty handedly with your guy, Mitchell Trubinsky, at the quarterback position. So this will be an interesting game. And I'm gonna say something that I know for a fact in reality sounds insane. Okay? I know it sounds.
How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity.
You don't even know what I'm going to say, Steven. What the hell? You don't even know what I was going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Mitchell Trubinsky right now is a better quarterback than the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, I'm talking to Kirk Cousins right now. And there's twofold why that is, okay? The difference between Minnesota trying to make this playoff run and the Chicago Bears doing it is that Minnesota has actually been there recently enough to where they know how to play this game, if you think about it. But the difference also is the Bears right now, they didn't expect to be in this position in reality, Cuervo, still with a shot at the playoffs. Especially after losing that, 5-6 games in a row, they've written themselves off, okay? So Matt Nagy has been able to resurrect it to where it is now. And the fact of the matter is that the Bears don't have anything to lose. Let's go back in there. You look at that. They don't have anything to lose except gain. What do they gain? Especially if Arizona loses today, Cuervo, which it could be a thing. Like I said, because that game has changed because of the quarterback position. The Bears get the victory today and Arizona takes a loss. Man, they just slide up into that number 6 spot and still alive, which, by the way, remember what I did to them a couple of weeks ago right there. Okay, so I'm not saying I was sorry. I'm not saying that I was wrong about that. I'm not ready to say that, but they have the chance, which, by the way, even you didn't even think they had that chance. So you're seeing the other teams that are not so good, and we talked about this before you got on, other teams that have not been there showing the reason why. Why is that? December football. December football is what your NFL season is all about. You can have the 6-1 or the 5-1 that start off like the Bears did, and then do exactly what the Bears did, which is drop 4 or 5 in a row, and then all of a sudden you're not in contention for the playoffs. This addition of another playoff spot saved your Chicago Bears this year to be where they are in week number 15 compared to where they'd be if there was only 6.
Yeah, no, and I think the hot start that they had is why they're still in it. I mean, at 6-7, I mean, there's 2 or 3 games they should have lost earlier in the year. Right now, they should be like 3-9, but they're not, or 3-10 or something like that, or 4-9. But luckily, they found a way at the beginning of the year to grind out victories, and right now that's why they're still in it. Now, with that said, going back to last week's game, I'm actually very proud of the way that the defense played.
Yes,
and it is to an extent, it is to be expected. But I think the big thing is we saw some Khalil Mack sightings.
Yes,
and we also saw, the defense just do what we know they can do.
Yep.
They got a safety, if I remember correctly, on Deshaun
yes, they did.
Watson.
By the way, that was the turning point in that game. That safety, that was the turning point in that game. And I realized that I was going to be on the wrong side of that pit when they got the safety. I knew that because what happens is that juices flow, and it goes into the offensive side of the ball, and that is the key. Sometimes it's one play. Sometimes it's a series. But in reality, when you were looking at the Chicago Bear defense, you were asking yourself one question. They hadn't done anything in reality for the 3 weeks before that, and they could have used at least one of those 3 weeks. So that was huge before last week. So that was huge for him. If they could have got the defensive side, and it changes – when you have a good defense, it changes the culture of your offense. You are able to make a stretch, make a play, maybe throw a play in there that you're normally not used to doing, not necessarily a trick play, but a play that maybe can be completely unexpected. And the idea of knowing that your defense can hold you helps guys play looser. I'm a firm believer of that on the offensive side of the ball. So, it is interesting, but this game here, as far as Minnesota is concerned, both can have it. If that defense does not stop Dalvin Cook, it's all over. And that's not even having Kirk Cousins have to play well in reality. And in this part of the season, you need your quarterback to play well, and Minnesota doesn't necessarily need it for this week. In reality, if Dalvin Cook is going off. But if they have to depend up on Kirk Cousins to make plays, I don't like Minnesota's chances in this game.
I wouldn't either if I'm a Vikings fan. I mean, because, Kirk Cousins has shown time and time again that he just doesn't have the poise to be able to come up big in situations.
Yep.
And, I'm not saying that he's never done it. I'm just, not the majority of the time. It's just what you're going to get is your team's going to fall short if you have Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and so I think
nobody has learned that more than you, because not more than 3 years ago you had a man crush on this guy, and I'm glad that you saw the light, man, and I think now, instead of a basher, you're a Kirk Cousins realist.
Well, yeah, because he proved that, it was, I don't want to say it was a fluke, but I mean, he took Washington to the playoffs,
yes,
a couple of years, and I felt like, hey, they've got something here with Cousins, and after the playoff appearance, though, it just kind of went downhill from there, and then that's when he left Washington, went to Minnesota, got all that guaranteed money. And
yeah, you want to talk about a guy that's lived on a franchise tag? Holy smoke! And very well, by the way. The last 4 years, that guy's been on a franchise tag type contract. Then he signed a big 2-year one with the Minnesota Vikings, not this year, but last year. So, he franchise tagged for a few years, then he got the big money on a 2-year contract, which is pretty sad if you think about Minnesota, because you have, at the time when they made that signing, there was just no one available. This was the guy that you were stuck with. In reality, you think about it, Cuervo, there was no free agents that you could pick up the phone and say, I want that guy. If you wanted, you were talking about franchise type quarterbacks that were not going to go anywhere, except maybe one, and that would have been Tom Brady at the time. He was really the only franchise cornerstone quarterback that you could have gotten. He wasn't going to go to Minnesota. That wasn't going to happen. So you see the whole thing on where Minnesota is now compared to where they were just only 3 or 4 weeks ago. Remember, I had them finishing last in this division because Zimmer put the defense in charge of his son. That's still the killer on this point. And that's the reason why I don't want to do this, Cuervo, because I don't want to hex your Bears, but I'm actually on the Bears in this game. Main reason is that I don't think Kirk Cousins is the guy that can handle the load. But if you look at the Chicago Bears, if Matt Nagy and the quarterback, his name is slipping my
Trubisky.
Thank you, Trubinsky. That's what happens when you get old and you've taken a lot of shots to the head. Mitchell Trubinsky and Nagy, when they are on and they are together, they can be together. They can coincide together, because you don't have a guy that will throw the circus acts quarterback plays out on the football field when you have control of your quarterback. And I think in this game, just for this game, that is an advantage, Bears, more so than anybody else, because of how bad Kirk Cousins really is at the quarterback position. So that's the reason why. And that is the reason why I'm going with the Bears today. It's all about quarterback, and I cannot believe right now I think Mitchell Trubisky is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. And not only that, he's on a cheap price for the Bears as well.
Well, yeah, he is, but this is the last year, so and I think that plays a factor in why Mitch is starting to play so well too.
Absolutely,
time's ticking, dude.
Contract time,
and you know when guys are in contract years, they always magically just start playing better. So
it's amazing, and they back up the bad play and lose it for a little bit, and all of a sudden, and they know that the money will come and go. By the way, that being said, to the other game before we go to break, do you think Mitchell Trubisky is a Chicago Bear next year? Now, we talked about this not more than a month and a half ago, and you didn't think that he would be there. With his recent upbringing and how they finish, if they make the playoffs, Cuervo, is Mitchell Trubisky your starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears next year? And if he is, are you going to puke in your mouth?
I don't know if I'm going to puke in my mouth, Sonny, but I just think that if Mitch is back, I think that tells me that the Bears had a little too much faith in Mitch because but you know what? It all depends too. Is Ryan Pace back? Is Matt Nagy back?
Good point. Because we talked about him. Will he be back? Good point.
Right. So if those guys are gone, then you best believe Mitch is gone. All three of them will go. If that happens, then I don't know. I mean,
where are they going to start? Wait, well, they have Foles for one more year. They signed a 2-year deal on Foles, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am. They got Foles on a 2-year deal at $23 million a year. So they got their guy if they go away from them. And then at that point, it'll be about what coach you're going to bring in that can work with Nick Foles in reality. And listen, this is the reason why you're on this show compared to anybody else on a regular basis, okay? My old school thinking is to screw that son of a gun that would be Nick Foles. More so than that's what is going on. You're finding coaches that can work with the guys that have done it before. So, right. More so in the fact that old school Sonny Clark says, listen, you're going to run the plays I am, and you're going to shut up or you can sit on the sideline. That's not the way the NFL works anymore, although that's the NFL Sonny Clark loves. And there are still some few coaches in the NFL that are that way, but most of them are getting away from that thinking in reality. What coach do you bring in with the Nick Foles in reality that you think you can get? Obviously, I'm telling you, Eric Bieniemy, if you guys could score Eric Bieniemy, you got a chance with winning the division with the Green Bay Packers. You have a chance of winning it. Outside of Eric Bieniemy, is there anybody else? I have a name in my mind. So is there any other coach that could do it?
With Nick Foles at quarterback?
Nick Foles at the quarterback. I lob this one to you. We're playing softball right now. I lob this one to you so you can just hit it right over the.
You know what, Sonny? Sometimes you throw knuckleballs and I swing and miss because sometimes I really don't know what you're thinking. And right now you're about to pitch me a mean knuckler because I honestly don't know where you're going with this. Now,
all right.
That being said, I could be wrong, and I might.
Well, hold on. Before you do that, let me just write down my thing before you say it because
I love this game.
If we're on the same one, go ahead. All right. So where are you going?
Now this is going to have to take a certain team letting their coach go for this to happen.
Yep, we're on the same page.
Okay. And I'll tell you right now, if.
They're probably going to lose today, by the way. Or is that Monday?
If we're thinking the same team, it's an afternoon game.
It is. It's an afternoon game. Yep.
Okay, maybe I know you better than I thought. But, I mean, With Nick Foles, I mean, Philly's going to have to fire Doug Peterson. There you go. They're going to have to fire Doug Peterson.
If you can't get the enemy, and if you're and listen, we talk about this on the show all the time, Cuervo. If we're thinking it, God, if you're not a GM of the freaking Bears, whoever that is, by the way, I think they canned the guy.
Ryan Pace.
No,
they haven't. Not
okay,
yet. They haven't canned him yet.
But if he's not on the phone with the agent for Doug Peterson, he is making a huge mistake. He's making a huge mistake because and not only that, Peterson fits the mold of what a Chicago Bears head coach is, Cuervo. He's not an offensive mind. I'm sorry. Chicago Bear defense is defensive coordinator head coaches with an offensive coordinator that knows the freaking business, not some half-ass bullshit bringing in Jason Garrett. Would you love to have Jason Garrett? Because believe me, Jason Garrett right now is a hot commodity on people talking about head coaches for their freaking football team. And God, I will tell you, it will almost, and I'll say almost because it's not that bad. It would almost be as bad as one former Arizona Sun Devil coach, Jacksonville Jaguar coach. Yeah, I'm talking.
I wonder who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Yeah. Dirk. God, if your football team hired Dirk, you might as well just go buy a brand new shovel and just start digging it for the next 5 years. So
I'm gonna tell you who I want, Sonny. I'm gonna tell you who I want. If Nick Foles is the quarterback of the Chicago Bears next year, try to get Doug Peterson. I'll say it. But if it's Mitch or any other quarterback,
okay,
I think you might like this one. There's a guy up in Ann Arbor whose time is almost up over there. His time is almost up in Ann Arbor. And I'm sure he would love.
Did his brother play for you guys too?
No, just him. Just him.
Oh no, that's right. It was him. Duh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I listen. I thought and think he is in line for the Detroit Lions job.
God, no! Please don't say that.
Just telling you.
He never played for the Detroit Lions.
No, but he coached in Michigan.
Jimmy, listen to me. I know Ditka raised you better.
The pleading.
I know Coach Ditka raised you better. Then keep your loyalty to the city of Chicago.
How much more does Chicago have to pay to get, or how much more does Detroit have to pay him in order for him not to go to Chicago? Listen, this guy's not hurting for money. Okay, that's not the case. Yeah, and we're, of course, those that don't know, we're talking about Jim Harbaugh. Now, I'm telling you right now, the guy, it's not about money. He got all the money in Michigan. He got quite a bit when he was over in San Francisco as well. So this is not a money thing in reality. But if money is an issue, how much more million a year are they going to have to pay John Harbaugh not to go to Chicago?
But I don't think it's about the money, Sonny. Like you just said, he's got plenty of money. It's the situation you're falling into now. Yeah. If you want the more established situation, then yeah, I guess Detroit with Matt Stafford and whatnot, I guess that's the route you'd want to go. But if you want to take over a team that has, a solid defense, and all you got to do is get that offense in gear.
Yep.
Come back to the Windy City, Jimmy.
The enemy, Peterson and Harbaugh. Got it. Those are the running. Now, the game in today. Now, I know you're going to take Chicago. I took Chicago as well. Obie took Chicago in this game. Minnesota, the boss and Bryce are on Minnesota. So we got 3-2 on that one in reality. So it should be a very interesting game. And that's an early game, by the way. Oh no, is that the start of the afternoon? No, that's an early game.
That's right now, in an hour.
Now. Oh, you got me thinking it's noon again. You're scaring the hell out of me. But that being said, of course, the name of the show. That'll take us into our next game before we hit the break. And I'm bringing this one up because I like the matchup big time. Because there's a lot of games this week that seem to be gimmies. But I want to go to the New England-Miami game before we go into the break, because this is an interesting game in reality. It's an NFC East. By the way, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills. It's been 25 years since you won a division championship. Thanks for the last 13 from the Patriots, and then the years before that, you just stunk. Last time they won, Jim Kelly was the quarterback for that football team, in case you didn't know. Thurman Thomas was the running back for that football team. Only 6 games for Andre Reed in that game as well. So those are the names that are floating around as far as the last time you won the division. And by the way, they won with a 10-6 record that year. By the way, won that division with 10-6. That being said, of course, that's the name of this show. That brings us to a game because you're talking about 2 teams. Listen, New England's not going to win this division. They're not even going to make the playoffs. But you think for one instant that the head coach of the Patriots is not going to go in there and try to win this football game, you're nuts. Because, by the way, this is a football team that got beat last time in Miami by the Dolphins. Yes, that's right. Sonny Clark picked that game. And Bryce said Sonny was, needing to get a drug test. But this year it's a little different. You're seeing a different New England Patriots football team. I still never count them out per se. Right now, this game is just like the Bears. This game is just like the Bears and also Cleveland. A team that if you're going to be damn good, you got to beat this football team. Miami is in that same position this week.
Yeah, they are, Sonny, and I think this is going to be a very interesting. It's going to be competitive, and it's just going to have a different feel because no Tom Brady. So it's going to be, we'll see. Now, is the second coming of Jesus going to be playing in this game? As you call him.
I love you, Cuervo. That's the reason why you're on this show. I wish I would have thought of that. That's what makes me mad. The second come. Oh. No. I understand he is starting. I can't. We're of course not talking.
Sonny, no. It's not. It's 2.
We got 2 second comings. I don't know. Do we have an injury report? I know that we're talking it's shoulder, right? For Tua. So let's find out. I'll pull that up because
might be Fitzmagic. Might be Fitzmagic in.
Here is the injury report, and it says it's taking a little bit to roll. The injury. Wow. That's a lot of guys on there. I do not see Tua on the injury report. Now, of course, last week he was active and he didn't play last week, if I'm not mistaken. No, he did play.
He did play.
So that was that. But wait, there it is. Ankle injury, and he is. They don't have him marked. They don't have him marked as out at all. So that probably means he is going to start, Cuervo. Or if he doesn't start, he'll be thrown in depending on how Fitzgerald. But I think he is going to start. We have 2 second comings in this one. I mean, in reality, Cam Newton is also a second coming. Superman that he is, but I don't think I'm not sure. But so now Cam Newton, what his status is, I'll find out. I think he is playing, by the way. That's Patriots. Of course, It just goes to show
I don't see Cam
we're not up
here.
to date with everything, right? This is not ESPN where they have people running all the information that we want and puts it out in front of us. I don't see him. Cam Newton is out, and I do not see him on the injury list. So we're probably going to get Cam Newton, which I think makes this game even more interesting in reality. Yeah, And by the way, I'm slowly but surely being right about Tua. And with the pick that I'm making, this is not a grudge that I have against Tua. Some people think I'm not picking him because I think in reality, this is a Cam Newton next year contract game. And the reason being is because it is Tua. Okay. If it was anybody else, probably. You gotta if you're an NFL squad looking for a Cam Newton, how does he match up against a Tua type of guy? And is he able to, with that football team, whatever the case may be, on how we all know he's not going to be in New England next year. He's going to be on a different football team. So a couple things have to happen for Cam Newton to get a job next year. Number one, he still has to change his attitude because believe me, there's lots of reports about his attitude right now. Then you get the off the field nonsense where he shows up looking like his grandmother, going to a Thanksgiving meal. And then you all the other things that Cam Newton is. But NFL squads will pay and pick up a Cam Newton if he can show that he can play. The question in reality is, can he? And I think this is a game where he might be able to win a contract if he can get the victory today.
But I guess my question to that, Sonny, is what are you really – it's almost like the what have you done for me lately? What are you doing to solidify your opportunity to stay in New England by beating the Dolphins?
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like you beat the Dolphins. I know it sounds selfish, but what is that doing for Bill Belichick? What is that doing for the franchise? What is that doing for anyone in the New England Patriots organization? Not a whole lot.
No. Nope.
Because here's the deal. You're not going to win the division this year, which poor New England, they're not used to not winning. So, they're going to have to accept the fact that they're not going to be division champs this year.
Yep.
Except
the fact they might not even make the playoffs. Look where they are. If you look where they're at, they're in the number 10 spot in reality. A victory here moves them to 7-7, which is Raider area. Which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, the Raiders has the tiebreaker. And then you have Baltimore. If they're going to win, if you take a look at their opponent, you think probably they are. And so the simple fact of the matter is you're going to go in week 16 and week 17 playing for your playoff lives. So in reality, if they win out, they at worst or at best end up at 9-7. And guess what? There are other teams that are going to be 9-7, if not better, in reality, regarding Tennessee, Cleveland, Indianapolis, or Miami, or even to that point, Baltimore. So I don't think we see God, Cuervo. We're talking about maybe not seeing the freaking Patriots in the playoffs, and something we haven't seen since the Matt Castle year when he had to fill in for Tom Brady.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and and this is for another time discussion about who was the more important piece, in New England. Is it Belichick or was it Tom Brady? But, I think the writing is on the wall with that one, which I was. Listen,
that doesn't happen when normally that don't happen in reality. But here's what I said about that. Different discussion for a different day. I said Tom Brady, all he has to do is make the playoffs, and then he solidifies what that whole situation was. Never mind the fact that he wins 1 or 2 games in there. Everybody has to shut up about it. And in reality, and if you want to keep talking about that, it's still Bill Belichick. Okay, I got news for you. You would be the one. if they get to the playoffs and win one or two games, you're the ones that are wrong if you think that it's the Bill Belichick thing. Listen, Tom Brady's the GOAT for a reason. I still give the props to what that whole situation is. By the way, it's not just Bill Belichick, just to let you know, Cuervo. Okay, because when you look at the success of the Patriots, there's been one almost consistent guy that's been there as well, and it'd be the guy that takes over for him if Bill Belichick decides to hang it up. And I'm talking about the offensive coordinator. That guy's been there the whole time.
McDaniels.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels. That guy's been there too. So listen, you can give all the credit in the world to Bill Belichick as far as personnel moves and things of that sort. But if you want to talk offense, if you don't mention Josh McDaniels, you're wrong. Period. Because listen, Josh McDaniels knew how to get to Tom Brady. Obviously, and everybody said, well, anybody can do it underneath Bill Belichick in that office. Well, that obviously is not true this year.
Yeah, no, it's proven.
Not just anybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're not, and I was really
so far anyway. Let's see. Now that said, in this game, it's about the second coming of a new generation, new school compared to quote unquote old school. If you want to go Cam, I'm just older. I'm gangsta old school. Cam Newton is old school. But I think this in reality is a big game for Cam Newton, and I believe. Listen, I've known to be wrong on this show. And I can go out on a stretch to make a point better than most and be completely wrong too. But I'm going to tell you right now, if Cam Newton wants to be an NFL quarterback next year, he's going to win this football game. That's what I'm going to say. Because if you are New England, you need to win out. So if that's what he wants to do, you have to go ahead and be a guy that can put the team on his shoulders, okay, and go and win 3 meaningless games in reality as far against football teams. And we have seen who has done that before in their career and made a career out of it and got paid. So Cam Newton's in that same position for the next 3 weeks. If Cam Newton pulls it together and somehow the cards fall completely to where they will end up being in the playoffs, that guy's going to get paid big time. Not by a little, but by a lot. Now, if he finishes off the year, he might get a contract next year. But these next 3 games are money games for Cam Newton. That's the reason why I'm just going to throw the flyer. I'm going to act like I think Cam Newton wants to play next year and he knows what he needs to do in these final 3 games. I'm on New England.
And I totally understand why your logic on it, Sonny, as far as, we're just talking about contract years.
Yeah.
And Cam is in that same situation where he's fighting for, he's pretty much applying for other teams in the NFL because I don't know that New England's going to bring him back, but regardless, he's going to use these last 3 games to give himself the best opportunity to market himself and say, hey, look what I'm still capable of doing. Now, if teams buy into it, that's totally up to them. But I'll tell you right now, me personally, Sonny, and I like Cam. I do. Mm-hmm. However, I just feel like it's too little too late.
Oh, so you think he's mailed it in, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I kind of do. And
so he's not going to do his backup quarterback job. Brian Hoyer, by the way, is the guy I'm talking about, the backup quarterback right there in New England, who made a career, and as far as money is concerned, for the last 3 games of the Cleveland Browns, his career in Cleveland, that got him paid. So what you're saying, in gathering from what I think I'm saying, he is not going to be the next Brian Hoyer these next 3 games in order to get If he wins a contract. So it's interestingly enough, and that is the reason why I brought that up. It's not because of Cam Newton. It's the guy that's backing him up who made a career out of it, who's the one that's made his money because of 3 nonsense games that had nothing to do with nothing. In reality, at that time, the Browns weren't going to win a freaking playoff spot. This one here, it's a little bit different in reality. There's a little bit more incentive in those games because of the playoffs and what the payoff of these next 3 games can be for Cam Newton. So, I'm gonna roll with the fact that maybe he's a football player. He's got the passion for the game, and will he go ahead and go out there and win? The Patriots are capable of winning 3 in a row, regardless of who's at the quarterback position. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. So are you going on the other side on that? You're going to go with Tua and what the second coming of the Miami Dolphins are in this one?
Tua.
We you know what we need? We need to trademark. I might have to. I'll put something together. We'll see. You know me in the video.
Sounds good.
I'll figure out something. That being said, I'm just gonna go Miami. The boss, DC Dennis Clark, is on that, and I have to go. I haven't written down the actual picks from Obie and Bryce, so I'm not sure who they got in this one. Except more so, blah 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 blah. Oh, here we go. Miami or the Dolphins for Obie, and the Dolphins for Bryce. So I'm the only one that's going to go on the New England side of it. And Cam, I just wonder what Tarvin is thinking about that, because Tarvin, listen. Not only Tarvin has turned on Cam Newton, he has stuck a fork in his career. In reality, if you see some of his comments that he's made regarding Cam Newton in reality.
Actually, quick question, Sonny. New England last week. Who did they win last week? Who did they play? I'm trying to remember now.
I got the picture right here. New England, were they even playing? I thought they were on the bye, but maybe that was the week before.
No, it wasn't the week before.
They were on what I'm looking at here, Cuervo, they were on the bye, because I don't see them on my list here unless I'm going through it too fast. New England was on the bye last week. No, they played Thursday night against the Rams.
The Rams beat them. Rams beat them.
Yeah. And the week before that, New England, I thought they were on the bye the week before that.
No, that's when they destroyed the Chargers.
That's when they destroyed the Chargers, yes. So you're talking about 2-game winning streak. Then week 12 is when they won.
Okay. Sonny, I'm gonna switch and I'm gonna roll with you. I'm gonna take New England.
Wow. You sure you want to do that? Last time you did that, or last 2 times you changed your pick from your first one, and you rolled with Sonny? It hasn't been very successful.
I'm confident in this one, and the reason I'm confident in this one.
The week before the bye, they beat Houston, and by the way, not only did they beat Houston, but then again, who can't? So the last time New England lost in reality was against Baltimore. So, and that was week 10. So, they've been winning football games. So, however they get the job done. So, he is going to go ahead. He's going to make the switch. So, I'm going to switch New England. And I will give you up until kickoff to change your mind back, of course. Maybe something will come up before that time. So let's do this. Let's take the break. Let's pay the bills. And then when we come back, we'll listen, a lot of these games, the reason why we're talking about a lot of other things within some of these games, I think, are just really easy, at least in my opinion. So we're probably not going to spend a lot of time more so than finding the outside stories with them. So we'll
have to go on the rapid fire.
Yeah, it'll be easy to do the rapid fire more so than anything. So let's do that. Let's pay some bills. We'll take the quick break on the Couch Potato Sports Show. I'm going to make another pot of coffee, and then we'll go into the last hour here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll be right back, guys.
This is Sonny Clark, radio voice of your Rowlett Eagles, letting you know about RowlettFood.com. Do you want to have dinner delivered, but you don't want to use Uber Eats? Contact someone locally that can do the same thing at a better price and faster. All you have to do is pick a restaurant on the list at the website, tell us what you'd like to order, then check out, and you'll have your food within 25 to 45 minutes, depending on distance. Check out RowlettFoods.com for your next meal at Raising Cane's, Golden Pot, Ponchos and Lefty, and more. Give us a call at 972-408-8002 or check us out on the web at RowlettFood.com. This is Sonny Clark, radio voice of your Rowlett Eagles, letting you know about Landon Huey and 19 Ministries.
One of the things we want to do is we have this idea, the name that's kind of sticking right now is Rowlett Revival. And we know that there are a lot of hurting and broken people across the city. Out of a population of 60,000, there's close to 40,000 that aren't saved. And we want to do like a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday where we'll bring in a guest speaker, and he's just going to share the love of Christ, and we want to connect people in the city up with churches, and where they can find a healthy church family and find people that believe in them and find a God that loves them. Jesus came for a broken world, and man, he loves and cares for everybody in the city. And so we're excited about that. We're working through details right now, but our vision is to see God's going to reach a lot of people.
So make sure you contact Landon Huey at 19 Ministries at 972-835-8665 or check them out on the web at 19ministries.org or uniterowlett.org. This is Sonny Clark, radio voice of your Rowlett Eagles, asking, are you looking for a new home? Want to know what your house could sell for in today's market? Then you need to contact Realtor Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Rockwall. Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing, he can help you get where you need to be. Visit RayHubbardRealEstateGroup.com or make an appointment today by calling 214-236-2914. That's 214-236-2914. Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group, Keller Williams Rockwall. Find out how Merchant Masters, DFW, specializing in small business companies, can help you save money and protect your customers' information with our credit card processing and point-of-sale systems. In 95% of our cases, our services save our clients money. So, what makes Merchant Masters DFW different from all the others? It's an integrity-first approach to each client we work with so you receive the very best, including financial savings, lowest possible rates, superior technology, and improved support. So claim your free audit at merchantmastersdfw.com or contact John Beeman at 262-339-5470 for more information. That's 262-339-5470. Merchant Masters DFW, different from all the rest.
Ever want to know why Bill and I look so great on our broadcast? Check out K West Designs on Facebook to find out why. Check out all the samples that Kelly has got up so you can see, especially if you have that special occasion that needs something original, something designed, something that just says, this is our moment. Check out K West Designs on Facebook or give her a call at 469-601-5856. That's 469-601-5856. Again, K West Designs. Make yourself look original or different or just something just for you. K West Designs.
Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we're here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on here in our 11th season. Thanks for joining us here week in and week out on the Couch Potato Sports Show. That being said, being brought to you by, of course, Rick Lucas of Nest Egg Wealth Advisors. Thanks for your support of the Couch Potato Sports Show. As unfortunately, as you know, the Couch Potato Sports Show was unable to call the Rowlett Eagles games because of UIL rules and what is going on at the Garland ISD. Next year, we'll be back in line for those games, and we'll get the Eagle Eye Bill Cerna back in on what we are going to be doing from week in and week out as we bring all the games to you as well. So we do thank Rick Lucas for his support and continued support. Love me some Rick Lucas. We were talking last night. There's a lot of fog right here in the area where we are last night. So much so there was accidents all over the place. So everybody be safe out there. It's week number 15 of the NFL as we had on Bryce here a little bit earlier on, as well as Obie. We got Cuervo in this. He was fashionably late, and we're going to have him roll up on some rapid fire games because, again, this week when I was looking at them, and I was looking at the other experts making their picks, and man, everybody was all in line. So I don't think anybody's going to have a bad week here in week number 15 in reality. As of right now, everybody has all the games from Thursday and Saturday, except Cuervo and Bryce. They went ahead and they picked the Raiders to win on Thursday night. But Saturday, everybody had the same picks along with that, and we got everybody's picks here for the rest of the games here. Like I said, I don't think there was a lot of hard picks. I think some people will be out on the surprise. This is a key week as far as where we are in our standings that are concerned. That being that if you pick 1 or 2, 3 games that are outside the norm, you might be able to slide into taking this one. I won last year and the year before. Cuervo won the 2 years before that. I won the 2 years before that one because, unfortunately, listen, I think Tarvin would have had us in a lot of those seasons, but we missed him on a couple of weeks. Bryce, I went ahead and gave him the worst picks in week number 1 and gave him that record, which was mine. I had the worst pick, and that was 10-6 on week number 1. Although he probably finished, a little bit higher with his picks in reality. That being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We're going to be kicking off a lot of things as far as the NFL is concerned. We're going to run through some rapid fire on some of the games. There's some that will stick that we'll spend a little time on because there are a couple of interesting points of things out there. By the way, don't forget about SOAR Championship Wrestling. SOAR Championship Wrestling will be coming back to you here in January as we're getting close to kicking off the pilot for SOAR Championship Wrestling and getting that. And, of course, I'm part of that as I'm the commentary team for SOAR Championship Wrestling and OIWA. Look for a weekly show or maybe a bi-weekly show for those that are part of the OIWA. That would be SOAR Championship Wrestling, Chaos Kingdom, Southern Extreme, and a bunch of others that just off the top of my head I'm not be able to do. So check them out there. That is us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. As again, I do commentary for them. Always keep your eyes and ears open for wrestling. If you're interested in wrestling, we'll satisfy you on that portion of it. So week number 17 in the NFL is about ready to do that, but let's check and see. SOAR Championship. And, of course, we thank them as well as sponsorship here up on the Couch Potato Sports Show and keeping them involved. That being said, of course, that's the name of the show. It's week number 15. Cuervo, if you got your ears on, get ready. We're going to go into some rapid fire for the games that are going to be happening here in week number 15. That being said, of course, that's the name of the show. We'll head out to the next game that is up on board here on the Couch Potato. Next game up on board, the Indianapolis Colts are at home. They're going to be taking on the Houston Texans, and there is the boss joining us here. Boss, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, if you can't tell. So, having a good week. Good to see you, my man. As we get set.
The only problem I'm having today with you is my internet's kind of choppy, and even my face is kind of homely on this thing. But
and you think that's
I just wanted
the internet?
I just wanted to pop in here and. What are you messing with me for, Willis?
Well, you know.
All right. At any rate, the reason I popped my head in here is I just wanted to check and see if you were still okay. You blew a gasket there in the last hour, and I thought maybe that was a problem. So I just wanted to make sure you're still up and running.
Yeah, the blood's getting to the brain, in case you didn't know, so that's a good thing. So I took an aspirin, too, so, helps with the circulation, so I don't have an aneurysm up on air, which is what's the next thing. By the way, just so that you know, as far as your internet is concerned, you are on a 3 to 4 second delay, just to let you know. Normally, we're right up there, so just so that you know, you are having a little internet connection issues.
I know. I'm thinking about jumping off of here and going to reset my modem. I think I've got a lot of, I think the Trumpsters.
Yeah, clear your cache, by the way. Clear your cache. Maybe that'll help. So, by the way, you are, and there he is. He freezes. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So clear your cache, and we'll get you. We'll roll over. All right. So the next game that was up on board, we're talking Houston and Indianapolis, Cuervo. This is one of the games that I think could be interesting if Houston shows up. The problem is Houston has not typically, at least for the last 3 weeks, have been showing up to football games for some reason. No, not at all. And Indianapolis has been playing like they're in playoff mode, and they are. They're looking good. Actually, Phillip Rivers is making me look stupid because he's been playing well for the last 3 weeks. You are on mute. He's going back to the days of the radio. You are on mute. Hey there, Cuervo.
Wah, 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 wah. Like Charlie Brown, that's all you hear is wah, 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 wah. But, no, I mean, look, Phillip Rivers still has a lot left in the tank. I think that the Chargers did the right thing by letting him go because I feel like the Chargers needed to move on from Phillip Rivers, but I still think he's a serviceable quarterback that can get the job done. Now, the thing about the Colts, though, what I like is that they're starting to get T.Y. Hilton involved a lot more in what they're doing offensively, and that should have been all season, but I guess better late than never. Because that's the guy that's going to, be the difference maker for you at wide receiver is T.Y. Hilton. Now, just because he's getting hot, don't move away from the run game. I think you guys got a solid rookie in Jonathan Taylor. Continue to feed him the ball, and you've got yourself an offense that I think can make some things happen, Sonny. So, not to mention how well the defense is playing.
Well, and case in point on that, as far as that is concerned, T.Y. Hilton, like you said, had not been a part of the offense and has not been a guy that they have been leaning on. The fact of the matter is, you said that they haven't done it or they should have been doing it all year long. You're talking about a guy that I don't want to say he's overrated, Cuervo, but I think he's overrated. I mean, to a point, because he's not necessarily – every year you expected this from T.Y. Hilton. And the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, we haven't gotten the superstar that you and I think he could have been a superstar if he was utilized in the right way. And that's one thing I think as far as T.Y. Hilton is, I don't think that he's a good wide receiver. Let me rephrase that. I think he's a good wide receiver. I don't think he's been utilized in the right way, whether it be route running, whether it be the offense that he's playing underneath at the time, because this guy's bounced around a little bit. So that being said, I think if they get him involved, he becomes a guy that you have to worry about, because we talk about it on the show all the time. If you're not a football team to where you can just you only got that guy to worry about, only that guy, maybe two. If you add a T.Y. Hilton, then all of a sudden on the offensive side of the ball, you got to worry about 4 people instead of 3, and it makes a difference. So you become a red herring in reality if they are not going to deliver the ball to you. But Lord forbid if they do, that makes a big difference on what Indianapolis can do offensively. Never mind that they got a good defense. We've talked about that for the first time. And you've been on air with me for 10 years. I've been doing this for 12. It's literally the first time we're talking about the Indianapolis Colts having a good defense.
Literally the first. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a defense play this well, even when they won the Super Bowl back in 2006 with Peyton Manning. I mean, the defense was good, but it wasn't a top 5 defense like it is right now. And you're talking about back then they had guys like Dwight Freeney and Bob Sanders. I believe someone you know personally, Melvin Bullitt, was on that Super Bowl team.
Yeah, correct.
So,
who, by the way, has stopped the GOAT and one game in the play. Just let it right now. Just want to give the guy some mad props, because not too many people could almost single-handedly stop Tom Brady.
I still remember that, Sonny. I still remember that game. I still remember that play. Because the Colts had to come back and win that game. Peyton threw a game-winning touchdown to Reggie Wayne.
Actually, that was Marvin Harrison, just in case you didn't know. Go check.
Maybe we have to go. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But
I think I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Why don't we ask the man himself?
Yeah, I'll put. Matter of fact, I'll text him and I'll ask, because he knows what play I talk about, because he hates it. He wants to. This is in the. Well, sidetrack. This is the reason why Melvin Bullitt is a great guy. He doesn't want people to just remember that one play. Although it stands out in his whole career, he does not. In fact, when I've had him on the show, he does not want to talk about that play. And the main reason, just in case anybody doesn't know, he broke his wrist, and that pretty much was one of the things that helped him in his career. So he does not like talking about it. That being said, you're right. You got to be able to bring something to the table. And defensively, they're bringing a whole defense, and it has. But we saw glimpses of that the last 2 seasons. What we're getting this year's consistency on the defensive side of the ball, more so than it being a patchy area, which is last year was less patchy. The year before that, it was really patchy. But they've shown glimpses that they could be really good, and what they've done is they put it together. But I will tell you, one of the reasons why that is has not necessarily the fact that when you brought in Wright to this football team, the head coach of this football team, that was an offensive move. What he has done is he found the defensive coordinator. His name is slipping my mind. I know of him, I've heard of him, and I know who it is. He's letting him do his job. And Frank Wright is taking care of the offensive side of the ball, because when you take a look at some of the games that they were in and they were focusing on Frank Wright, it wasn't about the defensive side of the ball. It was whether or not they were going to go on 4th down. What play were they going to draw up on the 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 in order to get it? Will he run the ball on the 3rd and 4? You don't necessarily hear that Frank Wright talk when they're talking the defensive side of the ball, because he is that offensive guy, and he lets that guy do his job. And that is the big difference compared to what we've seen in the past from Indianapolis. So when I was looking at the game, I think the fact that they do have a good defense and they're playing well is the reason why I went Indianapolis in this game. It looks like are you going to go ahead and go Indianapolis as well?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going with the Colts.
All right, so that's everybody across the board on Indianapolis on that one. So that will lead us into the next game that we have, and I think this one's a fairly easy one, but we cover them all here up on the show. That's just what we – the Detroit Lions go to Tennessee, and Tennessee has an opportunity, 156 yards for the next 3 games. We could be talking about Henry going for 2,000 yards. And by the way, in the running game for the last 4 or 5 years, you're not even talking about the yards that Henry has now for a full season for somebody at the running back position. Never mind the opportunity to be able to not break a record, but 2,000 yards in a single season. He has to average 156 yards for the next 3 games in order to get that 2,000 yards. But the key point on that, we sit and we talk about will Derrick Henry care about that? I think in this case, it is, and the reason being is because of the all-around talent that's on that football team, because you're looking at the fact that the weapon, when you have a weapon that is a Derrick Henry, you got 3 or 4 guys trying to stop that guy on any given play on the defensive side of the ball, and he's still able to get as many yards as he's been able to get. You think about it right now, he's got 1,400, if I'm not mistaken, he's around 1,400 yards. And God, how many NFL squads in the NFL right now would kill for a 1,400-yard rusher for all 16 games, never mind, in this case, 14?
Yeah, look, we haven't seen a running back with these numbers since, I want to say, Adrian Peterson when he won the MVP, a 2,000-yard season. So, it's exciting to talk about, but I don't see him even coming close to winning the MVP race when you've got quarterbacks that are throwing, with a 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. It's hard to argue against that. For the MVP. So, unless Derrick Henry breaks the rushing record, then I don't see a running back or any other position winning. To me, I think it's a quarterback's award at this point because it's such a quarterback-driven league.
Yep.
Something record breaking or just it's got to be something that we've never seen before for a non-quarterback to win the MVP. That's just my opinion, Sonny.
I would love to be able to see it. And not only that, you think about the offensive side of the ball on what he is doing. He's also got he also has the touchdowns as well. When they get into the red zone, dude, all they are doing is trying to find Henry. And why not? When you can't stop him, you got a huge advantage in reality when you think about those games. And in this case, when you're looking at the game, Tennessee is just that much. Right now, Detroit, they're reeling. They don't have a coach in reality. They got the interim coach. So right now, you get the opportunity, if you are a Detroit Lion player, you are interviewing for these next 3 games. So I think we'll see Detroit stay in the game, but later on in the fourth quarter, they're going to stretch their legs and we'll see Tennessee get the victory.
Yeah, probably. Tennessee's got, let me think. Let me pull up the schedule. I forget who they're playing today, but I don't see them having a problem.
They're playing Detroit.
Okay. All right. I need to have the schedule up, but yeah, and the game's in Tennessee too.
Yep.
They'll
have some in the fans. They'll have some in the stands.
Yeah, I don't see Tennessee having much of a problem today.
Yep.
And the other thing too is who's going to stop A.J. Brown? That receiver. Let me tell you something. He is one of the most underrated guys right now in the
I agree.
Wide receiver position.
And why is that, Cuervo? He's being outshined by Derrick Henry, and the simple fact of the matter is that when you need a play and everybody's going Derrick Henry, they can always jump off to the side and get that guy involved in the game. It's a huge advantage.
And not just that, Sonny, but I mean, a lot of Titan fans don't want to hear this, but Ryan Tannehill's his quarterback. You're not going to get a lot of credit with Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback. I'm sorry, but it's a star-driven league, quarterback-driven league. Everybody thinks that guys like Devontae Adams is the business and the bee's knees, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I pick A.J. Brown over Devontae Adams. That's just the Bear fan in me, but.
Well, here's the thing. You know what it is? It's a simple fact. Ryan Tannehill is Trent Dilfer. All right? Because if they're going to go to the Super Bowl and win it, Okay, he's going to be Trent Dilfer because the simple fact of the matter is it will be on the shoulders of Derrick Henry. And that's if they make it. They still got, you want to talk about a bad road for Tennessee to try to get to the Super Bowl. You're going through the AFC. That's bad. That's bad news for you. But as far as hard-nosed smash-mouth football, that is Tennessee Titans football. That's what I love to watch. And so I'm all over on Tennessee on that one. Next game up on board for the Couch Potato Sports Show. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against the Atlanta Falcons. And listen, sometimes you just have to accept who you are. Okay, and the Atlanta Falcons are that team. They are just who they are. They're a fourth quarter give up football games in the fourth quarter football team. And even if they stay close into this, they'll drop this game in the last 5 to 7 minutes of the fourth quarter and lose the football game. The simple fact of the matter is that if Tom Brady needs a victory in the last 4 or 5 minutes of a football game, you're toast if you're the Atlanta Falcons. This one's not, and I don't want to say they're going to get skull drugged because I think they can stay involved with it because of the weapons that are on the other side for Atlanta. But the simple fact of the matter is this is December. This is Tom Brady's month, by the way, just in case anybody that don't know, one of the best records in December comes from one Tom Brady. So don't forget about that. He is the GOAT. I'm on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep, me too. Next game. For me, it's not easy.
Everybody is on Tampa Bay except Obie. Obie is taking a flyer. He's deciding to go ahead and pull the trigger on the Atlanta Falcons.
Do I feel lucky?
He seems like it's something that has to do with the luck side of it and you know, maybe gaining a game. By the way, he's been averaging 10-6 for the last 2 weeks since he's been on the show. That being said, next game here up on the Couch Potato Sports Show as we're doing wrap. Next game here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, not a lot to talk about because Jacksonville, you go back to exactly to what Atlanta is. Jacksonville are who they are, okay, which means they're not a good football team. They're worse than Atlanta, and that's pretty damn sad. The simple fact of the matter is they go up against a Baltimore team, which, by the way, seems to have resurrected the last 3 weeks, and they're getting back to the type of quarterback play that we seen last year from Lamar Jackson, which in reality is you don't give a rip about what that guy did in the month of November. You don't give it. You don't care. And that is the difference. When you move into December, we talk about it all the time. This is where you got to show up. And right now, Lamar Jackson is doing so. And all the nonsense they're talking about Lamar Jackson and why he came back, I'm not even getting into that. It's the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. It's almost like saying the reason why a horse wins a race is because he pops a squat before he takes off out of the gate. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But that being said, the Baltimore Ravens are just that much of a better football team than the Jacksonville Jaguars.
To be honest with you, I had forgotten all about that infamous bathroom break situation. But, yeah, I think this one is pretty easy, too. Baltimore will find a way to not bounce back, but
bounce back as far as getting to the winning ways. That's what they got to continue doing in reality, because when you're looking at where they are as far as the division is concerned, it's unbelievable. By the way, this comment, I know that goes back to the last game we were talking about. But that being said, Baltimore's got the capabilities of doing it. And yet again, depending upon the situation, not that Jim Harbaugh would be in the hot seat this year, but if they don't make the playoffs, it's going to talk about some hot seat talking for next year if they don't have a successful year with Lamar Jackson at the quarterback position. Listen, that's a make or break pick when you pick it and you get it and you decide to make that your guy. Remember, they wouldn't have grabbed him at the quarterback position when they were drafting if they were a little bit higher. They would not have taken Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, they wouldn't have. No one would have. Based on if they were a little bit higher at the time, he just fell to him. And that's what was the open. And they've made the best of what he is because that defense is so good. And that's the reason why I think you see the success of Lamar Jackson, because it's not because he's throwing the ball 250 yards a game, Cuervo, for 2 or 3 touchdowns a game. It's around 175 yards, which is what I preach through the whole time, and that's what he's continually doing this year. but it is the yards that he does get on the ground that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and honestly, like I think what this shows is that passing yards per game does it really determine how well a football team is? No, yeah. It's just a matter of can you make plays, and that's what Lamar Jackson does. He makes plays, whether it's with his arm, whether it's with his legs. I understand Baltimore is 8-5, but after today they'll be 9-5, and they'll still going to be in the thick of the playoffs. And let's face it, last year he was the MVP. He could have thrown for 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
rushed for 2,000.
Yeah, so
it's all about getting wins. That's what matters. So
that's what it's all about in reality. When you take a look at it, it's all about the check mark underneath the W. And listen, he's not going to be known as a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm sorry, he's not. Listen, you can sit there and talk all day long. Even if he has a successful career at running the football at the quarterback position, if you don't put yards up in the air, you are not going to be a Hall of Famer. It's just the way it is, and it's just the way the quarterback position works. And here's another thing to keep in mind. If they win a Super Bowl with him and only get one of them, he might be one of those quarterbacks that still don't make the Hall of Fame just because they have a Super Bowl ring. That's something to also kind of go. It's just the nature of the beast. It's just what the NFL is. That being said, next game up on board on. All right, we move into what is the afternoon games. The Seattle Seahawks get a tough game today. And it's a tough game because they're going up against the number 1 or 2 defense in the NFL in the Washington football team. That being said, also, think about this. The fact, no Alex Smith, they are turning back to Dwayne Haskins at the quarterback position, which is not impressive at all. If this game was Alex Smith, I picked the Washington football team. In fact, if Alex Smith does not make it back this season, the Washington football team is not going to be able to win the NFC East, which the way I predicted, but I only predicted that because of Captain Checkdown in Alex Smith. With the win, they don't have a snowball chance in hell of winning this division because you got New York, if they do decide to win, coming back and doing what they're doing, and Philadelphia is, and you know how the Cowboys, if they go on a 3-game winning streak, they're going to win the division if this and this and this happens, and that's the NFC East. It just might go back to week 17 to figure out who's going to win this division. But without Alex Smith, I don't feel confident in Washington, even though they got a good defense, because Haskins has proved he cannot move the ball on a consistent level. And Lord forbid, if he has to do it, that might be a problem for Washington. I'm going on the other side. I'm going Seattle.
I'm going Seattle too, Sonny. I need them to win this game. I need Washington to lose. So
yes, you do. Yep.
But I think I mean, regardless, Seattle's the better team.
Absolutely. And the only person that went on the other side on that was Obie, but I don't know if Obie knows. And I'm going to, since this is an afternoon game, I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to send him a message and see if he wants to change that pick. I think he thinks Alex Smith is going to play him. It's not.
It is not, Sonny. This game is starting in 20 minutes.
Oh, won't be able to.
He might want to get his pick in now.
Yeah, well, he has his pick in. He has Washington, so I'll try to message him to see if he wants to change that pick. So, but we'll see what happens. So, next game up on board here on the Couch Potatoes. An interesting game. San Francisco goes on the road to play Dallas. There'll be 30,000 people in the stands in Dallas, so maybe even 40, depending on how much of the lift they made. All right, so the San Francisco 49ers are a team that has been decimated with injuries all year long. And Mullins has been leading this team, and they've actually been winning some football games with him at the quarterback position, Cuervo, which last week we thought Jimmy G was going to get the nod. So we don't even necessarily know who's going to actually get the nod at the quarterback position, because if Jimmy G is ready to go, he will play this game. Simple as that. Mullins is not good enough for them to say, well, maybe we'll wait another week. Why is that? It's really simple. It's because it's all about the playoffs and where San Francisco lies. They are right now 5-8. They need the last 2 games in order for them to even make the playoffs. But I just don't think they're going to get it with Mullins at the quarterback position. The only thing that they got going for them today is the Dallas defense is so damn bad, Cuervo.
Yeah, well, it is bad. I am kind of curious, though, if Garoppolo is going to play. He's not on the injury report.
I didn't see him there either. I checked that. That's where I went to right when I threw it to you. I do not see him on the injury report.
Yeah, neither do I. So, but just to kind of speed things up, I am going to take San Francisco. If you think the Cowboys are struggling offensively now, guess what? Today,
Oh, we got it. We have got some breaking news coming from Cuervo. So what is going on in this one, Cuervo?
Thank you, Mr. Clark, for the breaking news. So if you think the Cowboys' offense is depleted now, how about no Ezekiel Elliott today?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he's been a weapon in reality for him, but when you really just take him out of the lineup, man, that almost makes me want to change the pick. Not that, like I said, not that I thought he was going to run for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, really, he's a lame duck. He's been a lame duck for the last 3 years. Just look at the numbers; they don't lie. Okay, and by the way, you decided to pay Ezekiel before Dak. It just goes to show, sometimes when you have an opportunity to go back and look at it and go, wow, we made a huge mistake. That's what you're looking at. Which, by the way, they wouldn't even had to do anything with Ezekiel Elliott until next year when they could have thrown him on the franchise tag. That being said, it is what it is. But and when you make that statement, now I am going to flip my pick, and the reason why is because of that. They don't have the red herring, okay? Listen, Ezekiel Elliott has the capabilities, depending upon the defense, to break off a 50, 60-yarder and get into the end zone, and he can do his little thing with his mouth thing, feeding them more and all that crap. Okay, they could have done that. The only problem is they don't have that. And listen, the backup running back, I forget his name. He's not a bad player. He's no Ezekiel Elliott. You don't worry about him. Regardless how anybody feels about Ezekiel Elliott, if you forget about him, you don't plan for him, he will burn you. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to go on the other side then. I am going to go San Francisco on that because without Zeke, listen, I love Andy Dalton. Sonny Clark's always loved Andy Dalton. I thought the Dallas Cowboys should have picked him when they went over to Cincinnati. They should have grabbed him up. They had the opportunity not once but twice, and they didn't grab him up. Big mistake. Could have been the homegrown guy and filling in instead of Dak. It could have been Andy Dalton. That being said, I think that one is. It changes the whole round, and I don't have Bryce's pick on that one. Is that a morning game, Cuervo?
It is.
Oh no, he has the 49ers. I found it. I was just about. So the boss is on the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't know if he wants to make a change. So I'll get a message over to him as well, as far as that is concerned. Because that's big time breaking news. So, all right, so that's gonna take us into the next game here up on the couch. It is the Jets and Rams. I don't have a lot to say because the Jets are who they are. God, it's amazing. When you get into the month of December, Cuervo, we talk about what we talk about, okay? We talk, no, he says no, he does not want to change his pick. So that being said, when we get to December, we see what good football teams are and who are not. Now, not saying that the Rams are a bad football team, but even if the Rams were the middle of the pack right now in December, I mean, you get the Jets, you mark that down as a win because the Jets are doing what they are doing. Listen, I've never seen it before be so obvious about a team tanking for the whole season. I've never seen it so bad because there have been opportunities for the Jets to win football games, and I think they on purpose did not make that final move to move up in order to get the win. And that all you got to do is go back to the game they lost in overtime on that Hail Mary thing. They were told don't catch that football. If someone's got a shot for him, let him take it. And it's pretty sad where the Jets are. And the thing about the Jets is that the Jets have got some great fans. Now, there's some teams out there that have got great fans. Some people think that the Raiders are punk fans. Listen, I think that it's a great fan base with some bad apples within the fan base. But when you got guys dressing up as Darth Vader each and every week to go see a Raider game and doing what they do in their fandom is, that, you know, outside of what they do with other fans that are wearing different jerseys, I'm not worried about. But there are certain teams that do it. The Jets have a loyal following, and a love of football, but they ought to be embarrassed that they're Jet fans this year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they're doing it. If it's to get Trevor Lawrence from Clemson, first of all, there's no guarantee that he's going to declare for the draft unless he already said he's going to, and I missed it. Number two, from what it sounds like, Sonny, now we could have another Eli Manning situation on our hands here.
Yeah.
I've heard that he has no desire to be a New York Jet. So it's one of them situations where –
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it's one of them situations where, you know, they're doing what they got to do to get the number one pick, but then the guy that's going to be the number one pick doesn't want to play for them. So that's the tough situation that the Jets are in. It's, you know, they're losing these games. I'm not saying on purpose, but they are losing these games that will get them into the number one spot. However, you know, it sounds like the guy that they're looking at has no interest in playing for them. So
yes,
like what's the move now? What's the strategy for the Jets?
By the way, and Cuervo, it's because, listen, and I'm going to just be honest with you, and you can beat me later. I have not watched 1 minute of college football this year. Not 1 minute. Not even 30 seconds. I have watched zero college football. I'm zero interested in, because when you talk college football and you don't have fans, you can't. I have no interest. I lose interest because the no fan aspect of football is no greater than in college football. Forget about the NFL. Listen, college football fans, you're talking the best fans ever as far as the sport is concerned, and that even goes beyond March Madness. And college football fans are the best fans out there besides other countries that love soccer. That's how high they are in reality as far as fandemonium is concerned. So I put soccer in other countries number one, college football at number two as far as fans are concerned. I think it makes a big difference. So that being said, who's the other quarterbacks that would be coming out of college? I don't know if you've been keeping track.
Yeah, honestly, Sonny, I haven't really kept a whole lot of track myself. Geez, now you got me thinking. Now I think Fields from Ohio State is eligible to declare, but I don't know if he's actually going to. Justin Fields. So that's a guy that I know a lot of teams are probably going to be interested in.
You'll get a lot of yappity yap about a month before the draft.
Yeah, those are the two big names. Tarvin would be the one to ask. He knows a lot more than I do, but those are the top two that I know of. But I can't think of any other ones right now.
Got it. So that being said, next game buyer up on board here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. And I'm going to save one game, so I'm going to skip it. I'm going to Kansas City, New Orleans. Interesting game, obviously. I mentioned it earlier. You weren't on when Bryce was there. I've made a career out of being wrong as far as Drew Brees is concerned coming off an injury, because I've never picked him coming off of an injury. And guess what? I've been wrong on picking against Drew Brees coming off an injury. I'm not going to do it today. All right, they're at home. This would be a great football game for the Saints to show up and show their dominance in the NFC, as maybe we might have a preview of what the Super Bowl could be right here with Kansas City and New Orleans.
Yeah, no, I think that there's a strong chance of that too, especially if Drew Brees can stay healthy, and they can get Michael Thomas back for the postseason. He's not going to play the rest of the regular season. But if the Saints can get into the playoffs fully healthy offensively, watch out.
Yeah, who we got in this one? I'm going. And the problem I don't like is that they don't have their wide receiver. It really hurts them not having them, especially in this game. In reality,
yeah.
But the thing, Drew Brees, there's a reason why he is a superstar. He makes other people better around him, and guys that you've never heard of will step up. I think Alvin Kamara has a big game, not necessarily rushing the football, Cuervo. Okay, I think you're going to see him a lot in the passing game. But if the Kansas City Chiefs have a deficiency, we've talked about it on this show, it is the defensive side of the ball. And if you have that deficiency going up against Drew Brees, you need to score every single time down there. And not that he's not capable. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is worried about it. So it just all depends on the mentality of the Kansas City Chiefs going in there, thinking about where they are as far as the standings are concerned, as far as the wild card there up on top. They've clinched the AFC West. They have not clinched the bye. A win here pretty much would clinch it for them. So it just depends on what mentality they're going into this game on. In order for Kansas City to win, I think they have to have a good defensive outing, and I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. I like the Chiefs in this game. I mean, it's very difficult to stop that offense or slow it down. I should say, slow it down. You're not going to stop it.
You're not going to stop it. You're right. Yep. So, by the way, everybody's on New Orleans except you, by the way, Cuervo, just to let you know. They see Drew Brees as being what it is, so it's a matchup of quarterbacks. And listen, if Drew Brees is not really 100%, I'm gonna kick myself on this pick. All right. The problem is the injury report, he's just not on it. He's going to start. They're not going to get specific about how he's feeling going into this game in particular. Hey, if this was the Miami Dolphins, they might go in particular and tell you what's going on and how he's really feeling. In this game, they're not giving a hint away. They're saying he's going to start, and that was never a question starting at the beginning of the week. So you take that as far as knowing what's going on with Drew Brees right now into play here, which we don't necessarily know. Because in this game, I normally don't do a lot of research. I wanted to see someone say something about the Saints and Drew Brees, and we didn't get it. So that being said, we got 5 more minutes. So
everyone's on the Saints? Everyone is on the Saints.
Everybody is on the Saints except you.
Wow.
Yeah. Interestingly, yep. So you might grab one up there, Cuervo. So there you go. So next one, get on to this train. It's the New York Giants and Cleveland Browns. Listen, I think what happened is that Bryce thought he had the upset pick, and by the way, it's not necessarily an upset in reality, but we got 3 teams going as far as Cleveland is concerned. Are 3 guys that picked them. The boss, Bryce, and Obie all have picked the Cleveland. Mark that. I'm sorry. He said he wanted to make a pick. I wrote down his pick. Bryce is going Giants, just to let you know. So, so that being said, on his picks, it does say the Browns, but I know that's incorrect. So that being said, of course, that's what he said live. This one's an interesting game. I mean, listen, the Giants have won 4 of their last football games, okay? They lost bad last week. Bad. I don't like the way they lost that game, by the way. But if they're going to have a bounce back, if they're going to win the division, they're going to have to do it. Right now, Washington's holding on to that spot. But the way we kind of look at what Washington is going to go, I don't think they're going to win without Alex Smith. That being said, the Giants are the next team that's going to step into that spot because Philadelphia doesn't have a chance of winning it right now. The Dallas Cowboys, if they win out and certain things happen, have a better shot than Philadelphia. That being said, of course, that's the name of this show. You're talking about a good matchup as far as football teams. This is a game that December's all about if you're the Cleveland Browns and you're a good football team. If you lose this game, you're not a good football team, Cuervo. I'm putting it on the line now. Tell Obie this as well. If Cleveland loses today, you're not a good football team and you're not going to make the playoffs. I'm actually on the Giants in this game because I don't think they are mentally ready. Listen, I know I've said that a lot this year, but this is December football. If they are a good football team, they win this game. If they don't, they are not good enough to be in the playoffs. Now, that's just Sonny's opinion. What do you think about this one?
No, I understand what you're saying, Sonny. I think both teams are looking to bounce back from last week. Cleveland losing to Baltimore Monday night, which I actually thought Cleveland played good. They just didn't make enough plays at the end to get the job done and get the
they didn't lose the game. They just ran out of time.
Yeah, and then as far as the Giants are concerned, that was not pretty. So, both teams are looking to have a bounce back game. But I actually like Cleveland. If you had to ask me which team is more likely to bounce back faster, I think the Browns. And it just so happens that they're playing each other. So, I'll take the Brownies.
The Brownies. So that being said, Cleveland, you as well as the boss and Obie are on that one. I don't think they're a complete enough team in order to win that. Listen, this is a must-win in reality for Cleveland, and I don't think they're going to get it. But that's just a personal opinion, and more than the fact that I know which one of the two teams are better, and right now Cleveland is better, but they got to get over the mental game, and that's the biggest thing in this one. So we'll talk about that one next week. Next up on board, as we're rolling through them really quick, only 1 minute to kick off, but we still have two games. Pittsburgh Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think this one's a tough one, Cuervo. I'm all over the Steelers in this one. That being said, the Bengals, they are just who they are without their guy, and that I think that's the reason why everybody's going Steelers. You're not going to do it. Listen, you're not going to do it. Is he going to do it?
Do I feel lucky?
It has to be a misfire. It's just not going, is it? I knew
it's not firing.
I knew it was a misfire.
There's a missing spring, Sonny. It's not working.
Yeah, I understand. So that leads us to the game I ignored because I wanted to spend some time with it, but I wanted to get to all the games. We can always just go over a few minutes. This one has the capability of being the game of the week. Philadelphia Eagles and the Arizona Cardinals. Now, granted, these are not the marquee NFL football teams, okay? Listen, I'm an idiot, but I'm not that far gone. Okay, but this one right here, as far as Arizona and where they are as far as the standings are concerned, listen, Philadelphia doesn't have anything to lose in reality. It's starting Jalen Hurts, but who has the most to lose from this game is the Arizona Cardinals, which are holding on to the number 6 spot. So it might as well be number 7 in reality because somebody in the NFC is going to get there. It won't be the Eagles. That being said, this is an important game for the Arizona Cardinals. They've got to be able to step it up. And Cuervo, right now, I talked about this, in our virtual chat with my brothers. Listen, right now, Kyler Murray's hurt. He's spending a lot of time in the freaking pocket. And when you're down there at the red zone, right there at the goal line, and you're not giving that ball to freaking Kyler Murray to make a play, your guy is hurt. And you're not only that, you don't trust him either to get the job done. That hurts the Arizona Cardinals in reality. And in this game right here, where Philadelphia has nothing to lose and Arizona has everything to lose, I don't trust Arizona even at home because there's no fans in the stands. I think if there's fans in the stands, I think I might pick the Arizona Cardinals. Guess what? The Arizona Cardinals cannot prove that they make the playoffs with Kyler Murray because this is only his, the third year playing, right? Third year for Kyler Murray. First two, not making the playoffs. Listen, this is the game. This is December. This is if you're a good football team, you win this game. Right now with Kyler Murray hurt and the way I saw him play last week, I don't trust Kyler Murray unless he had a miraculous, healing going on. He played horrible. If they don't play Kyler Murray football, they lose this football game. I don't think he is. I think he's hurt. I'm going the other side. I'm going Philly in this one. I cannot believe I said that. And Jalen Hurts is a rookie, has nothing to lose. So look out for some big plays from him in this one.
Well, so much for pulling the trigger on this one, Sonny.
I stole his thunder, I think. Damn.
Not the first time. But yeah, I actually, this is game in Arizona.
This game is in Arizona, but at the same time, no fans. If there are fans in the stands, I'm on Arizona on this one. But it just all depends on what this injury is. Right now, they're really quiet about it. Of course, they're quiet. No one wants to know what it's the non-throwing shoulder that's making a difference. And it's the non-throwing shoulder that's making the difference. And the question is I'll put it out there. If he goes balls to the wall, the Arizona Cardinals win. If they don't, they won't. And I think the injury is stopping him from being balls to the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, by the way, the game's just started. I think that, I want to pick Arizona. They're the better team right now, or at least on paper they are. But Arizona's been struggling, Sonny. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's just a matter of that they're offensively, they're not getting the ball to Hopkins enough. Maybe they have no running game. Like, I don't know what it is, but offensively, Arizona's just not what they were at the beginning of the year. It's like as the year has gone on, they've declined. And that's not what you want in your football team. You want them to get better as the season goes along. So
right now, and you need Kyler Murray. The reason why, listen, you're in the playoff run, okay? If Kyler Murray is going to be able to shoulder the weight of this football team, in reality, because their defense is not anything to write home to mama about, okay? So what has to be done, what you have to be good to be in this game or make the playoffs is you need Kyler Murray to be Kyler Murray-esque. And we're not getting it. We haven't seen it the last 2 weeks, and that's going to hurt them. And I'm putting out the bold prediction. The Arizona Cardinals are not going to make the playoffs, and this injury is the reason why. Now, if he balls the wall and stumps it up or does whatever he has to do, then make sure that this injury is not the issue on this game. They win this game, I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to get into the playoffs. They're going to leak into the playoffs, but they have to win this game. I don't even know who they have in week 16 or 17, but it will be irrelevant. This will be the thing that takes the air out of the sails. If they lose this game, they're done for the rest of the season, because that means they're going to have to fight in order to make the playoffs. And I don't think the Arizona Cardinals have enough to fight for a win to make it into the playoffs in reality. However, I'll give it to Cliff Kingsbury. They make an offense that opens it up for Kyler Murray to be the superstar. Listen, you honestly think in reality that Kyler Murray on some of those plays getting all those yards, that is not a planned running play before that the ball is snapped? No, that's a running play. Making it look good is what Kyler Murray has been able to do better than any running quarterback in the NFL to this day. But that comes from coaching and being able to open up the holes to make Kyler Murray look good right now, and that's the reason why I am and I just don't. Right now, I would love to see the Arizona Cardinals win this game. I just don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So I just they've gone cold as the season's moved along.
Yep. So, cool. You get to put them on a sandwich and eat them up. They're done. I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that's it. We did it. 3 hours here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We ran a little bit over. I wanted to talk just a few minutes about that game. That's why I wanted to wait till the end. We could always got the game. So that's going to do it, Cuervo. Have yourself a great Sunday, man. Thanks for joining us. And even though you had the Santa hat on and the Bears, that one's a better looking hat, at least.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I was just trying to get a little festival this morning.
And I hope I didn't curse your Chicago Bears by picking them today. So we'll see what happens with that.
Well, I did too, so.
You heard them every week then. There you go. All right. That's going to do it for us, everybody. Have yourself a good one. It's the Couch Potato Sports Show. It's that being said, everybody, we're out of here. Take care. Bye-bye.